Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
You're as cold as ice.
Welcome to Gen Exhausted. I'm Chris.
I'm Rich.
I am Earl.
All right, Ice. Why were you listening to Foreigner?
Because it says his nickname in it. Yay!
No, actually, it wasn't for the Iceman. It was. Gosh, it sucks that you asked me. It was a dark humor for what we're about to talk about.
Oh, what's her name? Gabby. What's her name? Petito. You've been watching this. You've been following this.
Yeah, that's her name.
Gabby Petito. Like, I don't care. I just. It's another. I guess I figured out why I don't care about it before we did the show, because I want to be able to talk about it, because I really don't care about it. I guess my ex-wife, I've seen so much true crime. Like, as soon as I saw the video, I'm like, oh, the husband killed her. We're done here. Or boyfriend or whatever. I'm like, as soon as I saw the video, I'm like, that dude killed her. We're done. And heard all the details. It's like, yeah, at this point, we're finding a body and then finding the guy, whether it's his body or still alive, right?
Yeah, but the white woman syndrome thing kind of threw me for just a split second.
That's not a thing. Explain what you're talking about.
That the media goes nuts when a white woman goes missing.
Yeah, it does. It's not a thing. It's not a new thing.
But it's not a new thing, but I talked to my wife at length about it, and I figured out why it is.
What, pretty people look good on TV? That's what it is?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with white people are fucking sick. If a black man or an Indian or Chinaman or whatever you want to say, any other ethnicity, kills somebody, they put a bullet in their head, they drop them in the fucking alley, and that's it. Said and done. White people? No, we're sick. We go off the fucking cliff to do this shit. Go all the way back to Laci Peterson. Scott Peterson went fishing, quote unquote. All of a sudden, his pregnant wife goes missing. Weeks later, they find her and her stillborn, now born baby floating in the fucking lake. Ugh. That's disgusting. Okay? We do that shit. That's what we do. Us, white folk. That's what we do. And that gives them something to write about.
Oh, I was waiting to see how you tied that into. I think it's a lot more simple than that. I think it's partially what Chris said. You know, hey, you pretty, you're gonna get more fucking airtime. I mean, whether you believe that or not, that's fine. There's overwhelming historical evidence proving you wrong if you don't believe that. I don't care if you don't want to fucking look at it. That's your willful ignorance. You deal with it. But it's also kind of what you said, man. The more sensational, the more that they can fucking speculate. Like, oh, he might have killed her and then, stuffed her under a rock and had sex with her body every 2 days or something. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fucking sensational shit they can come up with, they're gonna push that too.
Well, it's real life true crime, and then the ladies love true crime.
Right.
Do you guys remember, like, in the 2000s, where if any blonde bitch end up missing, Nancy Grace dedicated a whole fucking show to it until they found the chick, and it was just like, it became the missing white bitch show. That's what Nancy Grace was. Every time I go to my grandmother's house, she's watching. I'm like, oh, you're watching the missing bitch show. Okay. It's like Lifetime being the Woman in Crisis channel. It's just that's all it is. It's once again, it's a flavor of fear porn. Do you like that flavor? Then you're gonna love our fear porn. And I mean, it's just, I'm with you, Chris. Like I'm too honest with my selfishness. I don't give a fuck because no one would give a fuck if I disappeared. I wouldn't be on TV.
I get that they look for the most sexy people to put up pictures of, but that they can't talk about that. Okay, there's a lot of people, women, children.
Not anymore. They used to all the time.
But I mean, there's a lot of people that go missing every day. But the ones that the media centers on, the pretty white woman. But there has to be a fucking huge story to go with it.
Yeah.
You can't just be found in a fucking dumpster and be like, oh yeah, your husband dumped you.
Are you aware how many listeners there are to True Crime Podcasts? This is shit unfolding in real time.
My first wife was a CSI nut.
Yeah, this is tailor made for the women in today's society, for the shit that they're into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they dive deep into that. But the reason, just the thing that everybody is like, oh, it's a race thing, it's this. It is, but not because they're racist.
No,
it is because we're nuts.
Okay, what you're bringing up Joy Reid. What you call it, Miss? You have to realize if you bring up something like you said begins with Joy Reid said, you might as well begin it with Tucker Carlson said. She's from NBC. She's from MSNBC. She's a pundit. She hosts a talking head show. That's what she's supposed to. I told you, dude. It's a play, and she's playing a part. That's what she's supposed to do. That's what It's
right,
the same
Joy
reason.
Joy Reid didn't come up with the missing white woman syndrome.
No, but she has an audience that she has. She's an audience that eats that shit up with a spoon. And her producer,
Right.
she probably didn't even believe that she's saying it. Producers go, here, say this. We need people to watch because you're on television now.
You know, I know that this is a inconvenient fact, and it's probably a hate fact to a certain segment of society. But as much as everyone wants to fucking like cheer on Jimmy Fallon when they say, "Oh, today this decade, this last year's census, the population of white people, dropped more than it ever has, percentage-wise," and everybody starts clapping, and Jimmy Fallon's sitting there looking at his audience like, "Why are you clapping this?"
Yeah.
Like, you just watched this motherfucker, like, you watched the light switch turn on in his head, and he went, "Oh, shit. This is what I'm actually out here fucking promoting? I'm stoking these fires? This won't end well." Well, here's the hate fact for you, folks. White people are still 66% of this country, okay? Still the majority. It won't be that way in 2050. Okay, great. Well, you wait for 2050. Right now is where we live. Right now, they know they can put, "Hey, look, missing blonde girl." And the conservatives eat the shit up because you guys have been on fucking this horse shit of, human trafficking and child sex trafficking and all this. But like, you've been on this bullshit for so fucking long, the motherfuckers were willing to go in with an AK-47 or whatever the fuck and go to a pizza place and say, "Let me into the fucking child torture sex chamber that doesn't exist because they don't have a basement." All right. And the left is so fucking, they get a hate hard on for anything that mentions anybody that's not a POC over white people, that immediately they turn it into something racist. So they get their fucking, their hate fucking porn fill, and everybody's agitated. Nobody wants to talk to her. You can't have a conversation about it. You can't be real about the situation. And then you have the people who never let a good tragedy go to waste that aren't in the media. And all you got to do is turn on your social media feed and look for the perpetual victims that you know and watch the bullshit they post about. Just because she was crying in the video doesn't mean she's the crazy one. The crazy people are the ones who were able to hold it together in front of the police. And, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, really? Because if I attribute my personal anecdotal fucking situations and experiences to everything, I'm an asshole. You do it, you're enlightened. Get the fuck out my face, dude. I don't care anymore. I don't care. And I'm sorry, like, I be honest with your bullshit. Like, the people that fucking care only care because it's a voyeuristic thrill for them. It's like a horror movie or a roller coaster.
Yeah,
you get to experience fear with no real threat of anything bad happening to you, except for a very tiny percentage chance that something might go wrong, like on a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's the perpetual saying that they use: "If it bleeds, it leads."
Yes. I mean, it was one of the first lessons we were taught in specs by Dick Kernan. Literally pointed it at one of our classmates named Lauren. She was wearing a shirt that said "Sex Sells." And he goes, "I'm going to give you the two main things you'll need to understand when you go into media. If it bleeds, it leads. And this young lady's shirt right here." And he pointed to her shirt. And he goes, "Stand up." And she showed it, and it said "Sex Sells." And he's like, boom. That's really all you need to know about what's going to be at the front end of any broadcast, especially a news broadcast. And I mean, it's just 22 years later.
She's pretty and blonde, and she might be dead. Both boxes checked. Well, is dead now.
Might be. If she's missing, presumed to be dead, and there's a conspiracy of
found
how
her.
and why.
Right?
Yeah. Now, but when it first started, and where the hell is her boyfriend, fiance, dude?
Brian Laundrie. I don't even care, and I know all the bits, and I know the points and the players, and I don't even care.
I mean, look, I once again, surprise, surprise, I have to agree with Patrice O'Neal on this one. If the guy's disappeared or he's on the TV crying about his missing wife, he did it. And this is why. No man cries over his missing wife. He's going to party for a few minutes. And then he's like, on the third day, he's going to be like, yeah, subjugate them hoes. Get them bitches. Oh, hold on a sec. Everybody stop partying. Dishes are piling up. Where's this bitch at? Oh, fuck. They're going to think I killed this bitch. God damn. And then call the cop. Am I calling too early? Or I think my wife is maybe missing. Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's the truth, man. Because Scott Peterson, pretty much everyone took one look at that motherfucker and was like, look at them crocodile tears. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you go on the run. That whether or not you're guilty doesn't matter. Once you go on the run, you've sealed your fucking fate in most people's minds. Mm-hmm. Innocent people don't run. Well, sorry, excuse me. Innocent white people don't run. Everybody else can run because, they're afraid that they're going to, be hunted in the streets. But yeah, and it's just like, dude, he said the shit on his Elephant in the Room special. He said the shit. He goes, if I ever go sailing, I'm gonna get a keychain and attach a white baby to my hook, like to a carabiner, and I'm gonna dress the baby real white and like Uggs and shit, because that way if he goes missing, they'll come looking for the white baby because they don't give a fuck about him. And it's the honesty. Remember when the NFL players in like 2009 were lost at sea and killed because their boat capsized? He was like, they went to the edge of the shore and looked for 2 seconds and were like, yeah, it's too sunny out. The sun has come reflecting off that we can't look anymore. We don't know where they're at. Sorry. Oh, well. Missing white bitch in Aruba.
They're black. They blend into the water. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. A white bitch in Aruba gets fucking, who's the bitch? And he did this. He did it to the crowd. He was like, who's the chick who got killed in Aruba? And this black chick in the crowd goes, Natalie Holloway. He goes, exactly. See? Now, who was the other chick that got killed? The Peruvian chick. No one knows. No one cares.
Nope.
Yeah. He's like, you knew immediately. You knew her name. You knew what I was talking about. And I gave you the vaguest of fucking hints. And he didn't even say her race. He was just like, who's the chick in Aruba that got killed? Natalie Holloway. There you go. I mean, once again, just because we have supposedly a free media, understand. Ultimately, everything in this country is boiled down to you're beholden to your shareholders. And when we have news that's run for profit, their main motive is not to inform you of the truth, it's to turn a profit. And they figured out they can fucking stir the pot and make us all lick the shit spoon, and they can just sit back and rake the money in. And dude, that's exactly why I don't give a fuck what Joy Reid said or whatever the fuck her name is. I don't want to learn her shitty fucking name. I don't care, because all she's there to do is agitate everybody and get people worked up. So they go, what is this white woman syndrome? This is bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, good. Now that we're going to argue over, we've argued over Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. We got them off the boxes. And we got fucking, the pronoun situation. We've argued about that. Let's argue about something that is going to piss everybody who fucking hears the story off, and it does absolutely nothing to help any of the people who were harmed in the story. It doesn't help to get us to the fucking truth or to have justice served. It just serves to agitate. That's it. And bro, that's why I was like, you want to open the show with this? Exhibit A, Earl. He's agitated about it. And he can sit here and try to act like he's Joe Smooth and he wasn't upset about it. I'll read the fucking the private log chats. You want me to do it? Because I swear to God, the motherfucker was like, that's bullshit. And I'm like, yep, congratulations. You opened your mouth when they said, I'm going to take my fly down and you're going to swallow whatever I give you to swallow, bitch. And you got down on your knees and opened your mouth. Congratulations.
One more time, the media caught me.
Yes, it happens. It happens to all of us, guys. It's just this time it was like, I'm watching it in real time and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let this play out.
I think I was telling you to stop watching that cable news, man. Fucking don't do that shit. That shit is bad for you.
I have stopped watching it. Just Gabby popped up everywhere I turned. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Even my wife was like, have you heard about this chick? I was like, what? So I looked, and that's what I found. I'm like,
I'm writing this down right now. No matter what we talk about, I'm titling this just so people see it. The title of this episode is going to be called "Cable News is Bad for You," because it'll tie everything together we talk about.
Well, yeah, cable news is bad because not just the Gabby thing with the race issue, but people wonder why I got a gun. You know, I'm big, I'm bald, I'm white. Oh, I'm a racist. So, you know, I'm scared that I'm going to get robbed by a black man. No, I'm not. I own a gun because I'm scared of white people. Black people come up to me, they want something. I can negotiate with a black person. You can get my money, take my car, fuck my wife, you know, whatever. I'm going home that night. A white person come into the fucking store with a gun, there's no negotiating. He's opening fire, and either I retort or I go down.
Usually you and your crazy ass takes I'm not too big of a fan of. I'm with you on this one.
Oh, this is, dude, it's a riff on the old Chris Rock joke of there's white crimes and there's black crimes. If you hear about an old lady who gets pushed down a fucking flight of stairs for her pension check, probably a black guy that did it. If you hear about somebody eating motherfuckers in an apartment complex in Milwaukee, it's probably a white guy.
No, but right now there is this like just unhinged, angst-ridden white person walking around right now, and I'm with Earl. They're all agitated from reading internet news all day, probably on some type of fucking pharmaceutical med. I'm with you, Earl.
Seriously, you can't negotiate with that. He's going to fire upon you, and if you ain't got one to fire back, you're screwed. But that's what to my point, that's what the media tells us.
And we all know from Whitey loves packing. Just ask him. I mean, hell, we don't have to, where you live, it's not a secret. I mean, definitely up here, too. Whitey packs everywhere. Urban and non-urban Whitey packs in Michigan.
Yeah,
see, but that's a
gun rack on the back window kind of.
No, I'm not denying that, hey, oh yeah, there's a bunch of white people who fucking definitely support their Second Amendment rights. But there's also a fucking narrative being spun. I've lived in the hood. Okay? Everybody's packing. Period. Nobody this whole, don't put, oh, how dare you put property over people? Take your ass to fucking Brightmoor. That's the west side of Detroit. Take your ass to any place on the east side of Detroit besides where it's been gentrified and go pop that good shit off and find out. Just take your ass to Nicky D's Coney Island on the east side at 2 a.m. and go pop that shit and see if you don't come back air hold.
Yeah, take your ass to the hood, try to take something that isn't yours and see what happens. Let me know how that goes for you from your hospital bed. If you can talk.
I tell people here in Kansas, they're like, is it really that bad in Detroit? I'm like, yeah, it's that fucking bad. You got politicians bankrupting the city. You got people, closing their factories, and good stand-up Americans, that work hard for no fucking reason lose their job. But all of a sudden, 6 o'clock at night, they got this, Daddy, I'm hungry. What the fuck are they supposed to do? Sorry, 7-Eleven, I need that money more than you do.
Do you want to get into the not a good reason? Because it's not. That's called vote. Those jobs were sent away. Those jobs didn't they evaporated here. They went somewhere else. And you could thank the unions.
There was some place where they could pay people less and charge us more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could, and the dirty secret is you could thank the unions for that. Oh, you can't say that too loud in Detroit, though. You get fucking hit with a bat.
Quick.
And this is where I have no faith in the system as it is. Because no matter what, no matter how good the genesis of something, how righteous the genesis of something is, and unions, yeah, dude, my grandfather was a Teamster. My grandfather was driving with Teamsters. Okay, probably not you, Chris, but Earl, have you seen the movie The Irishman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good call.
My grandfather, when he started driving trucks, that was when he was driving trucks. That was like not that long after Hoffa. Because and literally like truck drivers were holding cigarettes in their hands and letting it burn into their skin to keep them awake while they're driving because they're fucking driving crazy hours and they're being sent all over the place and there's no brakes and the pay is shit. And if they get hijacked, well, it comes out of your paycheck, et cetera, et cetera. So the unions did serve a fucking righteous purpose at some point. But like anything else in this fucking world, and anything else, once you start putting money in it, the grifters sniff it out. And they come and they pull their bullshit and they play their games and it gets corrupt. And now it's to the point where there's really no choice. I don't think major unions can be reformed. I was in electricians union here locally. All right. started a job for a company, and anyone at this company had to be everyone in this company had to be in the union, whether they were we weren't apprentices, we weren't journeymen, and we weren't fucking, anything special, but we were going to work on Chrysler, GM, Ford property. You have to be a union employee. Okay. I didn't even make it to 90 days, but they took union dues out of me from my first check to my last check. They're not supposed to do that until you're in the union after 90 days. Technically, I shouldn't have been working on these sites because, once again, I wasn't in the union. If anybody walked up to me at any point and said, show me your union card, and I can't produce one, there would be heavy fines levied against my shop. I don't know the ins and outs of unions well enough to know if it would have fallen on me. Like they'd have just passed the buck to me. I'm sure somehow I'd have had to come out of pocket for some of it. But I mean, this is how corrupt the shit is.
Told you, I think they served their purpose, and it's over. I think unions were necessary when they were formed, but now I think they have outserved their purpose. I think the workforce is different now.
Well, I just don't agree. I'm sorry, I can't get down with that because I know management. If you take the ability to fucking kneecap management away from the average workers, management runs wild with their bullshit. I've worked too many scab shops, man. I've seen it. I've seen the result of they don't have to answer to anybody in the shop and the shit they pull on us.
Don't
get me wrong. It's just as ineffective in a scab shop because you have supervisors who don't care how smart you work, how efficient you are, how quickly you get your job done and do the job right. They're more impressed with how many hours did you work this week? Well, why do I need to work 60 fucking hours when I can do my job in 40? Oh, because you have some misplaced idea that somehow 60 hours a week working that at a slower pace and being less effective than working smarter and getting the job done quicker. Somehow that's bad, but milking the fucking clock. And that's a union mentality. And I don't understand that. I've never understood that in any of the scab shops I've worked. I don't get it. But that's the mentality when you have no checks and balances. So I don't know if it's a union or if it's a retool of the union or if it's something different. I don't know. But I mean, and then on top of that, dude, if you've ever worked in manufacturing, you don't want to fucking try to deal with the gap between engineers and the motherfuckers building the shit.
That's true. You really don't. But from personal experience, I could tell you the two unions I've dealt with are definitely needed. And you can't really mess with those two unions. That's the United States Postal Service Union and the train union, the Trains of America.
To me, it seems like the mob, and they take a fucking vig from you just because of where you work. And it seems like another level of management where you have to play. I already got to play the game with one level of management. Now I got to play a game. Now I got to play the game with that level of management too. Because it seems like if you don't play the game, if you don't play ball with the union, they don't do fucking shit for you. So what does it fucking matter?
Well now.
Yeah, definitely. However, Chris, you have very hardworking people that go out there and do the job, like Rich was saying, more effectively, more efficiently, and, try to earn a paycheck. And because of certain people trying to take advantage of, quote unquote, the system, management tries to find a way to fuck with them. Well, yeah, you mess with them, but you also mess with the hardworking guy. And that's where the union steps in and says, no, you don't. No, you don't.
I say figure out how to be management then.
Well, you go do that. We're going to stay here with the union.
I have.
Okay, there you go.
Well, once again, though, as long as you understand that you're retarded if you show any loyalty to anyone over you in management. I don't care if you're in management. Those people,
No, dude, I worked with my last job
at heart
15
whatsoever.
years and then done. But my last job, but dude, it's just, you stop being useful, it's over.
Well, it's not even being useful sometimes. It's just we can get someone to do the job for a lot cheaper now at this point. So we're going to go ahead and just eject you and all your experience and knowledge and wisdom on this job to hire some jackass.
I went full subordinate because the person I was working for was an idiot. And I refused to fucking be dragged down his idiotness. But No, I went against the number one rule there. The number one rule was keep the person you work for happy. You'll work here forever. I did not keep the person I was working for happy because he was bucking all of this new shit that we were supposed to do because computers were frightening to him. And I refused to fucking do that shit. And yeah, well, anyway, but I don't know. I've always had jobs where, like, I don't know, maybe if you're perhaps caught on TV drinking beer and smoking weed on your lunch break, that you would get fired. And it appears like if you're in the union, at least in the Detroit area, that ain't no thing. You go back to work.
Well, it's an anecdotal example, but I trust the person who told me this. I won't go into details where they work, what union they're in, but it's a big one here in Detroit. And one of his coworkers had been to Brighton Rehab. For people not in the Michigan or Detroit area that don't understand, that's the rehab that Eminem went to. That's the rehab that's minimum $1,000 a day. And he's been there like 3-4 times because they found him literally passed out in a bathroom stall, slumped over, drunk. And even his buddy, who's like, he's a great guy, but he is a drunk. He is physically dependent upon alcohol. Yeah, I'd rather him not come to work for 3 days when he's trying not to drink and get those first 3 days out of his system than work with him because he's that useless when he comes to work. He's that dependent physically on alcohol. And I'm like, okay, once, maybe. I get that. I'm like, but who keeps going to bat for him like this? And Chris, you nailed it. He's like, the union. I'm like, but this is horse shit. They have to know this makes them all look bad. Like, this is not going to be a story that if it gets to the media, that's going to make the union or the union stewards or anybody look good.
Now, see, that's the exception. That's not the rule, though.
Like
and
I said, it's one example.
Right, but you're going to have that. And you and Chris are both right. There's going to be times, and like I said, people that are trying to fuck with the system, yeah, they take advantage of their union. And I mean, that's just the world we live in. But the people that don't, people that go in, put their time in.
I guess my question to you is, what is the union doing for you in 2021?
Me personally?
No, like in general, what does it do for you in 2021?
I can answer this question.
I can answer it.
Okay,
versus 1921.
It's doing the same thing. It's keeping the job for the common working folk.
What does that mean?
It means that when life happens and somebody gets sick and gets an illness that they couldn't have saw coming, that they can't do anything about, they don't also have to worry about losing their job, their pay, their benefits, just because they're sick and can't show up to work all the time like everybody else.
Well, that's what like short-term and long-term disability is for. That's what FMLA is for.
No, that shit runs out.
Well, yeah.
And FMLA is only if you work enough hours to achieve it.
Yeah, and for everybody else, most of the working world, that's what's going to happen.
Okay, so that you asked what the union is doing, I'm telling you, it's keeping that person working.
Well, no, everyone will still have their jobs. You're in the regular world, you'll still have your job, but at some point, yeah, the gravy train is going to run out, and you're going to have to go back to work.
Yeah, that's the rest of the world. That's not union. And that's what the union does. For somebody who gets sick and has to worry about their health and has pain throughout their body throughout the day and can't do a damn thing about it, the last thing they want to worry about is money, job, benefits. They're worried about surviving the day, bro.
Well,
they're not trying to take advantage of anybody. They're not soming up to work. They're not drinking or doing drugs on the job.
That's what short-term and long-term disability are for. That's all part of your benefits. All part of your medical insurance. If you have the right medical insurance.
I understand that, but at some point that your boss is going to be like, yeah, sorry about your luck. Take care. Have fun.
Absolutely. There are laws against that. Absolutely not. Union or not, there are laws against that shit.
Not in an at-will employee, there isn't.
Oh, yes, there is. Absolutely. If you can come with medical documentation for everything, there absolutely is.
Oh, yeah, that's a big if, though. Because if you're not a union job, you probably don't have shit for benefits. If you're working a type of job to where an illness that's gonna put you on your ass for 2-3 months might cost you your job, you're not balling enough to fucking get a lawyer, hire a lawyer, go in.
There's no lawyers involved. If you can, last job I worked at was there 15 years. They were notoriously cheap. But I can give you several examples of some people who stayed on the payroll for months because they had a medical issue. And as long as you got documentation for everything, doesn't fucking matter. There are laws to protect you. You cannot be let go.
Okay. Now, I could let you guys go for 30 minutes and go get like 3 cigarettes. Or I could say, once again, can we put the shiny objects away because they're distracting everybody? Yeah. Let's talk about the fact that this country, we work on average more hours than other nations who are developed to our level, and we're not as productive. Why is that? It can't be the union because the unions don't have the power in the country like they used to be. I mean, you go to other countries, if you have a health issue, they give you time off. It's not you have to go to a doctor. You have to pay the doctor to get this piece of paper. Then you got to take it to this person and file it here. And you better hope they crossed all the I's or crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's and all this bullshit. It's automatic. But we somehow have got it in our head that that's horrible to take care of our own fucking citizens. But yet, during the COVID crisis, we sent 18 million to Afghanistan. And basically, we should have just burned it because we sent it to Afghanistan specifically earmarked for, this is so we can educate them on the LGBT community. Do you think anyone in Afghanistan gives a fuck? And do you think that 18 million went towards one fucking person being enlightened over there? No. Get the fuck out of here, dude. But yet we bitch if we spend any money on our own fucking people. Which, by the way, there's going to be people that are grifters. Once again, why is the grifters at the top of the fucking trash heap okay, but the grifters at the bottom are horrible assholes who we need to fucking drag through the streets until they have no skin left on them? And then the real torture starts. I don't understand that attitude, dude. I do not get it. And I don't know if that's a management attitude, if that's a I don't want anyone to get anything unless they work as hard as me attitude. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And once again, what's going on? You have people who really are, in the grand scheme of things, as far as the people who are at the top of the pyramid in this country, they're not even a fucking speck on a fucking piece of paper to them. They don't give a fuck. And talk to someone who's in management who gets off the line at like Ford or GM and goes into management versus someone who stays in the union. And they could have been best friends when they were on the fucking line. Now they're at each other's throats. They hate each other. Mm-hmm. Why? Why does it have to be that way? Is it because that's just the natural order of things? Or is it because we're pitted against each other and we're stupid enough to fall for it? Almost every fucking time.
Well, that's the other thing. There seems to be this attitude from the unions, like that management's always trying to screw you. And I get it to some extent, but it hits on exactly what you just said. Or is that really just kind of doing like the little divide and conquer thing so they can just have their little fiefdom with the union?
I feel like on a larger scale, I'm not saying this is by design set up this way. Like there's some malevolent, evil Mr. Burns. I am the puppet master.
Yeah, like there's someone tenting his hands in a boardroom.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, excellent, Smithers. Like, no, I'm not saying that. But people in charge see, wait a minute. These people are already kind of fucking like two feral cats passing each other in the street, staring at each other, not trusting each other. Well, let's see if we can just make the situation a little bit worse and then somehow turn that to our advantage. Once again, never let a good tragedy or a good fuckery, a situation full of fuckery go to waste. If you can, this country is based purely on the stick on the carrot hanging in front of you. Mm-hmm. Everything is based on how much money do you bring to the table? How much money do you make for other people? Here's your cut. Thank you very much. I take my cut and we go our separate ways. It doesn't work that way though. Dude, you can deny the facts. You can get angry. You can try to switch the fucking stats. All you have to do is look the last 41 years, the difference in growth in the average worker's fucking salary, percentage in growth versus the average CEO. And I want you to tell me how better off this fucking country is as far as our companies that were in and stationed and had American workers, how much better off they are and how they've helped the American workers at the same time. Because I don't see that happening. I see deregulate shit. We'll try to bully the union out. If they can't bully the union out, Some companies will actually try to move to states that don't have a strong union presence. Believe it or not, there's more than a few fucking car manufacturers who have plants in Tennessee, where my family lives.
Oh, Texas.
Not a whole lot of unions.
Businesses love Texas, too.
But unions also negotiate a better rate of pay for people.
No, but wait. Yes, that's a given, dude. That's like saying, yeah, by the way, if you're really thirsty, drink water. Thank you. Okay, good tip. What I'm saying is,
no, Chris,
some
that's
companies,
what they do.
Some companies were like, let's get out of the Detroit area. Let's just stick with car manufacturers in that union. Let's leave the Detroit area. Let's go down to other states. Let's go to Texas. Let's go. I have an uncle, worked his entire adult life after he got out of Korea for Ford, period. End of story. Never worked for anybody else once he came home from Korea. And he was up in Detroit for 20 years. He went into management. Next thing you know, boom. He's living in El Paso, Texas, driving into Mexico and driving back into Texas every night because that's where the plant went. And he made good motherfucking money doing that. Good money. But I was like, why are you in Texas? The auto industry's up here. And he's like, and I'm like, I don't know,
anymore.
13, 12 when I asked him this question. And he's looking at me going, like, you have no idea. Like, you have no idea about what's going on. Mm-mm. And so these car companies, if they can't break the union up here, they take them to other states, or they just skip the other state steps and they just move the jobs out of country. And instead of going, oh, hey, look, I know that you've been here for over 100 years and you've used the people that went through the public education system. You transport your goods on roads that are paid for by the fucking taxes, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Obama was right. You didn't build this on your own. There was a lot of fucking factors at play. This shit didn't happen in a vacuum with just you. Henry Ford didn't just go into his garage and start a production line up by himself. He had to hire people who had been educated through the public education system. He had to have goods shipped on roads that were built via taxes, et cetera, et cetera. And by the way, now that you've built these for 100 years plus, you've built these huge empires, these world powers, because you can't get the fifth yacht that you want, Mrs. Ford. You're going to move your fucking manufacturing out of the fucking country and fuck over the American workers and fuck over, by the way, by extension, fuck over the government. Because if you don't have a manufacturing plant here, they're not collecting taxes off it.
Well, the reason they were able to do that, though, was because of NAFTA.
Yes, deregulation and bullshit. And dude, once again, Slick Willie was in when NAFTA pet. Yeah. And I didn't like that. I didn't like it. I don't care about what party they're in. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking that like I'm defending one party, no. You know who fucking spoke the truth the most during the 92 election? Ross Perot. He said, you see NAFTA? Let me break it down for you.
The giant sucking sound.
I'm going to keep it simple. Giant sucking sound you're going to hear is jobs being sucked into other countries out of ours. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. And let's not act like Reagan getting into office and deregulating everything and busting up unions like he did, like actively busting up unions, part of his platform, busting up unions. Like that didn't start the fucking fire that someone else poured gasoline on down the road. That's what I'm saying. Like that's when I start looking at the history of this shit. These politicians get us all riled up over shit that really doesn't fucking matter. Meanwhile, they're fleecing the fucking store, running everything, all the goods and money and shit out the back door while we're up front arguing about pronouns and Aunt Jemima. But hey, fuck it, right? We got our fucking fear and hate porn to watch. Leave us alone. I mean, dude, that's basically what. That's why I understand people going, I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government. Oh, take the shot. No, I got questions. All right. Best piece of advice I can give you: seek out someone who you trust, who you know is knowledgeable about it. Sit down and talk to them. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. And do your best to do it one-on-one in person. That way, no context, no nuance gets lost. You can look them dead in the eye. If you go, wait a minute, I have a question, you can explain. You can ask them, because that's the only way you build trust with this shit. This condescending attitude from the government, this condescending attitude from the fucking media, it doesn't help. It just agitates shit. And we fucking don't care. And if you do say you care, what are you doing to show you care? Have you talked to anybody about this? Have you pointed out to your coworkers who come in and go off on a 20-minute rant about a box of fucking rice and who or who isn't on it? And go, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Who gives a shit? I mean, what does that fucking matter to you and your family? To keeping a roof over your fucking head. I mean, when you have, 60% of the country is $400 away from basically fucking getting their house foreclosed on or losing their fucking apartment or whatever the fuck. Yeah, you can. It's real easy and cynical, and it's also very fucking lazy to go, well, it's all their fault. They made bad decisions. Oh, okay. What about all the bad decisions you made and all the second chances you got? They don't deserve them? I've gotten second chances. That's why I don't fault someone if they fuck. Hey, you fuck up? Cool. It's when you keep fucking up and doing the same thing over and over and then bitching about it that I'm like, okay, you're an idiot, dude. There's just no help for you. Get some fucking therapy or something. What do you want me to fucking tell you? Talk to somebody. Like, that's a defective person on a level that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the average person. I mean, all three of us. What would you rather do? Would you rather be locked in a fucking house, a shut-in all day on government assistance that can be taken away from you because you didn't file something the proper way? You filed it, you just didn't file it the proper way. And so they're going to take all your assistance from you, so now you're destitute? Or would you rather be self-sufficient, be able to go to work and pay your own bills and be as independent of a human being as you can be in this world?
Number B.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And I know too many fucking people. I've been around this country too many fucking times since I was a child, man. A child. Not a teenager, a fucking child. And I've seen the people in this country. Most people aren't what they fucking they're not what the broad brush people want to paint them as. All white people aren't racist. All black people aren't criminals. And why the fuck we even have to say that is beyond me. That should be a given. Most people just want to be left the fuck alone and live their life. And unless they're really pieces of shit, let's be honest, you want your kids to do better than you. That's if you make your life about your family, ultimately, you're making sacrifices so your family has a better shot and hopefully has a better life, an easier life than you did. But we've lost sight of that, man, because now we're just bitching about, well, look at this person getting this. Well, this person gets an extra $300 bump for sitting at home on their fucking ass. That's bullshit. I got to go to work. What about the motherfuckers at the fucking on K Street and the motherfuckers sitting on Capitol Hill robbing everybody fucking blind? Why don't you go do something about that besides take shout out pictures and steal their podium? I'm done with that rant. Sorry, my bad.
They all hit anyways. We couldn't find them.
Yeah, they ran. They ran. You know why? Because they're not leaders. They are paid mouthpieces. They are given their marching orders and they're wound up and they're let loose. And in that situation, the real people who hold the power and hold the money in this country weren't there. And these false fucking gods that we have set up in this country that we call politicians, you saw their true fucking nature. Oh shit. The shit has hit the fan. Run. Let the fucking cops who make $32,000 a year deal with it. We're the fuck out. Scumbags, dude. Scumbags. You're telling me you'd run like that if you had convictions? You'd run like that if you truly believe in the shit you sell to people every time you need their fucking vote? No, you wouldn't. Look at for all the faults the founding fathers had in this country, those motherfuckers walked the fucking talk. They were in battles. They were leading battles.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
the White House doors were open?
Can you imagine any of these fucking politicians doing that? And I look at people like Dan Crenshaw and I go, what the fuck are you running for? You're a goddamn Navy SEAL.
Right?
He should those were his people. He should have been the first one out the door and go, guys, you goddamn know I'm with you, but this ain't the way.
Hey, maybe he's like, I already lost one eye. We're not losing the other one. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yes. Like, stop listening to what the media and the government tells you how to. Stop listening when they tell you how to feel and stop feeling that way. And just disconnect. Pull the plug. Get away from it for a few weeks. And very gingerly dip your toe back into it, and you will see just how much bullshit you're being sold on a day-to-day basis.
Dan Crenshaw ran. I'm disappointed. I liked him right up until that moment.
I mean, dude,
That's the first person I thought of. Like, if any motherfucker probably would have like said, "Let's go," it would have been him. He's already got the look. He's got the eye patch. He'd have found a bandolier somewhere, put it on.
done the
All of a sudden, he's got no shirt on.
Fucking bandana shot where he's tying it behind his head.
Oh, but he ran. That's disappointing.
How many of them? Okay, dude. If one of them would have turned around and addressed that crowd, that would have that would have fucking. That motherfucker would have been.
That's my nominee.
He'd have been vilified if he was a Republican. Well, he was trying to stoke the fires of the crowd. You know, they'd have spun it that way.
But he'd be a hero to the people.
They'd have been deified. Yes, exactly. And because let's stop the bullshit. The media filled with people who fucking have pie in the sky liberal ideas about this utopia that they're going to fucking force us all to live in one day. It's not real. It's bullshit. There's never been a utopia not once in recorded fucking human history and not recorded human history.
Even the one in the Bible got fucked up.
Exactly.
Fucking woman.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Not to be dramatic, but I'm obsessed with how much I just saved at Kohl's. I got 25% off Nike clothes for the kids. The cutest $39.99 flex hoodie for me. And got great Columbia gear for all our outdoor adventures. Did I mention the extra 20% off and the Kohl's cash I got? So yeah, not sure what I love more, fall deals or fall weather. Select styles, 20% offer ends October 3rd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Want to start saving money and energy at home? Eversource, proud sponsor of Energize Connecticut, is here to help with our in-home energy service. For just $50, our certified technicians will give you a unique home energy score and conduct on-the-spot services. Plus, you'll get rebates and incentives on efficiency upgrades, like improved insulation to stay comfortable and save money all year round. So don't wait. Go to Eversource.com to get started today. Paid for by a charge on customer energy bills.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
So, I mean, just come on, people. How much bullshit can you fucking be fed before you finally go, you know what? I'm tired of eating shit. Like, just wake the fuck up and realize. And I mean, this is like every fucking thing. The media is its own ecosystem at this point. The news, the fucking entertainment industry, they're all fucking, it's all overwhelmingly hard left leaning. Now, I don't know if they truly hold those principles, but they espouse that they do from the highest fucking mountaintop. And they get claps from the fucking peanut gallery. I mean, and yeah, I had a little bit, I was a sucker. I'm sure we all fucking had a little bit of hope when we started seeing people like the backlash to these assholes getting up at these award shows where they blow each other and congratulate each other on how fucking wonderful they are. And they get up there and they lecture us about fucking what we need to do. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to tell me about climate change? How many of y'all took fucking private jets here? Fuck off.
Yeah.
But we won't do that because we like to jerk off to Gwyneth Paltrow's legs. And, you know, Brad Pitt's a good looking guy. And, you know, he made a movie I like. Okay, that's fine. Eric Clapton's made music I like. Eric Clapton's an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with him.
Especially
I don't want to worship him as a human being.
Last couple of yees, definitely, he's old and crotchety. So is Van Morrison at this point too.
You know, but you see what I'm saying? Like here, I've said, I believe, maybe it was unregimented. I have a begrudging respect for AOC because of this reason. I believe she truly believes in what she said, what she professes to believe. I just think she doesn't see the big picture because, to be honest with you, I know people, she got big ass horse teeth. Okay. Well, I know a lot of guys that line up to fuck her. So if you want to get out of line, that just means my turn comes quicker. So I'm good with that. But
I mean, she threw on like 25. I'd probably,
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know, everybody's got their thing, you know, but I truly believe she believes it, but the problem is that she's not, you have no real world proof that any of this pie in the sky bullshit works. And you think that, oh, well, I feel that this is more fair, so this is the way it should be. But what you don't understand is you're not playing with people who care about being fair. You're playing with people who want the table tilted in their direction constantly. And the sad part is you get people who go in there and you get people who have righteous intentions Now, whether or not their idea of how to get to that point is a good one or not, if they have righteous intentions, I truly believe that if a person is pulling true to their beliefs, that if you go, okay, look, I'm with you, but the path you're taking doesn't lead to that. It leads to a dumpster fire. And you show them evidence, a righteous person will auto-correct their course. You will not need to beat them over the head with it. Now, what I fear is, with people like her, is that they're so indoctrinated into their fucking beliefs through the educational system and the quote-unquote higher educational system that they're impervious to facts. Because I feel this way, and we all know how I feel about that. We all know I'm not going to even say it again. We're doesn't matter. I feel this way. That's all that matters. That's all the facts I need.
I feel you're an idiot. That's what I want to say to those people half the time. But you can't.
You know what's really scary is I look in the mirror from time to time and go, "You're an idiot."
Oh yeah.
And I don't think a lot of these people do. I think they're believing their own press, and that's scary because that's when the delusion starts. That's when I'm bigger than I am. I'm more important than I am. This entire Washington would fall apart without me. It's like no. Now you're on a Messiah complex. Sorry, believe me. There's people lined up to take your spot. And they'll do it for half the money you fucking.
People who always think they're so valuable to where they work. Oh, this place fall apart without me. No, it won't. It existed before you got here. It'll exist after you got here.
And see, maybe to double back real quick, maybe that's part of my problem with the management attitude when I hear that from management, because I'm like, you're right. They'll find someone else to replace me, but your bad fucking bossing and your bad management will run this fucking company into the ground and cost everybody their job eventually. But you want me to course correct, and you want to fucking hold true to your course, even though you're sailing us right into that fucking iceberg, huh? Okay, go fuck yourself. I've seen this movie. It doesn't end well for anybody.
Well, yeah, that's when you.
But
leave.
You know as well as I do.
That's when you get a new job. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Exactly. And like we've talked about, I didn't realize that was an option. I was never raised to believe, or told when I was being raised that was an option. It was be lucky you have the job you have and shut the fuck up about it. Just be happy. And you know, something I did want to bring up, and fuck it, I guess we can pivot into it, is, do either of you guys just at times just go, you know how much easier it'd be just to fucking give up and just agree with the fucking, just go with the wherever the wind blows? Have no fucking morals, have no principles, just what's everyone else saying? That's what I think. Okay. Because how much easier would life be?
I don't think I'm wired like that.
I'm definitely not.
I can't even wrap my head around that question.
See, I watch a movie like The Matrix and I look at like Cypher and the whole, I know this steak isn't real scene, and I'm like, I know that fucking feeling. I know that feeling. And when I was younger, that feeling came from being raised by a bunch of evangelical Christians, because it would have been so much easier if I just shut the fuck up and went along with everything they said, instead of standing my ground and going, no, I don't believe that. And no, I'm not going to say that it's a scientific fact that a person came back from the dead after 3 days, because it's not.
No, dude,
and you know how much easier my life would have been? Just, hey, if you guys are that righteous, cool. I'm not. I do question it sometimes.
No, I've resigned to, like, I'm going to probably be middle management forever, because I'm not going to get to that upper level, because there's just certain parts of me, the way I'm wired, like, I'm just not going to, like, again, like you said, I can't even fathom the question. I'm just not wired like there's certain things I guess I do within life, but I mean, I don't know, like, for me, I guess I've gone more the ignorance is bliss route, right? Like, the most I scroll my Google news feed now is like the day of the show. Like, everything else, like, if something makes it to me, it's just because it's like maybe through the podcast I listen to or something. Like, I'm not gonna let shit have that much control over my life. I'm just gonna fucking, at this point, everyone else can just do whatever, and I'm just gonna be like kind of like Nero with the fiddle, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever and live my life.
That's just the flip side of that same coin of just throwing the towel in.
Well, yeah, I guess I've done it just the other way. Like, whatever, man. I'm already 42. The world's not going to fall apart in 30 plus years. Or maybe it will. I don't know. But either way, I'm living my life.
Yeah, I guess I'm right there with you guys. I'm on the other side of it. I'm like, no, you're a fucking idiot, and I just stay over by myself and let them be an idiot.
Well, just so you understand, throwing the towel in, giving in, whatever phrase you want to use, there's many ways to fucking just give the fuck up. Just let go and there's the smart way, which is realizing that most control you think you have over anything is strictly in your mind. You don't have control over those things. You can only control what you do, and it's a very small fucking window compared to the rest of the fucking world that you can't control. But people bullshit themselves into thinking, like, this happens in families all the time. You know, if dad is the fucking dominant one or mom's the dominant one, it doesn't matter. But whoever's the dominant one thinks that they're running shit until mom or dad, the parent who's not running shit, gets a gutful, goes out and gets fucking dick down proper or slides into a tighter fucking gripper of a box and goes, I'm done with you, and walks out the fucking door and shows you just how little control you've ever fucking had. See, that's the realistic way of, fuck, there's really nothing I can do in that situation. So worry about what I can control and move with that. To me, that's the smartest way to go forward. Other ways of saying I give up is what you guys are talking about. And I've been there many times too. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I like.
No, but I choose to do exactly what you just said. I just worry about what I can control. I'm not going to, at this point, when you're younger, you seem to put so much energy into things you can't control. And that is just, life's going to be very fucking long if you do that.
And shitty.
Well, I mean, that's why I think for certain types of people, it really is, in my experience and everything I've observed, it really is personality dependent. If you're the type of person who is just trying to, like, look, I'm just throwing out the shit that I've found out in my life and understand that this is a work in progress to the day I die. And if you can glean a couple fucking points of wisdom from it, more power to you. That's the type of people that need to do podcasts. And then you have people who are better one-on-one, sitting in front of someone, talking to someone, breaking something down. Those are the type of people we need to do certain types of jobs. Those are probably people that don't need to do a podcast. Because, like, for them to shine, you need a one-on-one situation. You know, but there's the opposite. There's the people who dehumanize everyone who they disagree with. And, I mean, what's the quickest way to do that? To get your voice out to as many people as possible. I mean, and for the average person now, that's go buy a fucking $300 laptop, maybe a couple $100 fucking USB mic, and start a podcast and just talk shit about how everyone who disagrees with you on anything is retarded. And yeah, we do that to a certain extent, but at the same time, I'd like to think that we all three have had moments where we've been like, I mean, not necessarily on this show because it's still kind of in its infancy, but, you know, on a sports show or on a regimented whatever, where we've been like, oh shit, I never thought about it that way. And we've actually changed our fucking minds or revised our view of something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's
But moreover though,
like Earl with the Phoenix Suns. Oh, too soon?
But moreover, we've given solid, you know, proof of why we feel a certain way. We don't just go race bad and leave it alone.
Well, you know, one of the best critiques of, like, critical race theory I've heard recently, just to use that as an example, is, you know, a lot of people who have problems with it have problems with it because they're like, well, you're demonizing one race to build up other races. That never ends well. And that's held true pretty much through history. I think history's proven that that's a fairly factual statement. But the person who came out and said, the problem with critical race theory is that it treats everyone like they're fucking stupid, and it's racist to everybody because it's automatically saying white people are somehow like better than you because they're in power, and you have to fucking, you know, like, what do you call it? Like, circumvent and do this and do this and then you can sneak in the back door and snatch some power back from, you know, mean old Whitey. But Whitey, he can't help it. Like, because he's just born racist. Like, racism is original sin now. Instead of being born into original sin, if you're white, you're born and you just come out and you're just like, hey, where's my where's my Klan card? I feel like burning a cross. And we all know that's absolute bullshit. Even the most ardent supporter of critical race theory knows that's absolute bullshit.
First day of 100%. Kindergarten, they give you your hood. We all know how it goes.
And if you need proof, I don't care if you're born here in America. Take your ass to Mexico the day you're born. Never, ever set foot back in America until you're 50 years old. I don't care how white, how black, how Asian, how non-Latino that child is that you took into Mexico. That child's going to come back speaking Mexican, Spanish. Sorry, talking too much. I knew it was going to happen if I kept saying Mexico. Speaking Spanish with a Mexican accent and a Mexican dialect, and their culture is going to be 100% of where they were raised in Mexico. It doesn't matter that they were born here. They're a product of their fucking environment. If you raise kids to hate other people based on arbitrary reasons, don't be surprised when you have a bunch of hateful adults going at each other over arbitrary reasons. And that's where we're at right now. I mean, we've talked about it before. Guys, we were the last generation that was raised, hey, don't obsess about race. And here's my proof. The 2 generations behind us, that's all they're obsessed with. Race and what category they fit in.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm this sexual. I'm this. My pronouns are this. What the fuck does any of this matter in the grand scheme of things? If you treat me with respect, I'm going to treat you with respect. If you come at me and fucking automatically got an attitude towards me and start demanding I start addressing you as something that is absolutely ridiculous, and I have no respect, no affection, no friendship, no loyalty to you, you're not going to get the response you think you're going to get. In fact, I think people deep down know that, and they want that fight. Because think about it. We seek out conflict.
Yeah,
you doubt me? Go on
life.
social media.
They spend their whole life getting ready to defend it. And if they don't get it, like, within minutes, they'll go seek it out. You're absolutely right.
I mean, 2015, I'm sitting in my car at work, and NPR has an hour-long special on race in modern-day America. Now, this is 2015. This is before Trump was fucking elected. All right, so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this fucking NPR. You know, NPR, that conservative stronghold in the media. And, these dog whistle racist fascists at NPR said, there's no such thing really as race. There's ethnicity as far as where you come from. There's shared cultures. But if you take the skin color out of the equation, we're all the same. This is NPR. Not even 2 years later, after Cheeto Jesus got elected, oh God, all hell breaks loose. And all of a sudden you start hearing people from the academic circles start dragging up critical race theory. And they drag up the worst example of it they can, which is the original sin factor. If you're white, you're born racist. End of story, no discussion. No need to have any more discussion. It's a fact, you're just not accepting it. And that's absolutely not true. That's not factual. It's not true. There is plenty of argument behind the scenes in the people who spend their lives coming up with this shit. They can't even agree themselves about how to present their theory to the public. Yet we're supposed to fucking latch on to something and be like, okay, this is our new fucking God. This is our new Bible.
Yeah, but the problem you run into, Rich, is you've said it already, is I've said it, they spent their whole life believing and learning and figuring out how to defend it and embracing it. It's their truth. You can't tell them they're wrong because, well, they're not.
Well, dude, that's everybody when you've convinced yourself and you won't back down. I mean, I ran into an internet troll this week who I haven't seen the likes of in almost a decade. And it was he's simply there to be a contrarian, and it doesn't matter how many times you prove him wrong. Doesn't matter how many facts you use to prove him wrong. He gets up and takes a victory lap, and he talks shit to you it doesn't matter. Like he could say all fire engines are translucent, and you could show him cold hard facts, and he's like, I won. Doesn't matter what you say. Ha 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 ha. And it was stirring up a hornet's nest online. And I just finally was like, I commented on something someone else said, and he decided to try to throw me into the fucking mix. And I was like, okay, I get it. You're one of those I can never get got guys. Okay, well, it's an older trolling technique, but it checks out. Carry on. And that was the end. I didn't interact with him anymore because once I spotted that, there's no point in engaging with him. None whatsoever. And these are the people who have to be right and have to win. they don't care about the truth. They care about winning.
Yes.
And all three of us have done this at fucking times with each other. Whether it's in the group chat, whether it's on the air, we've all done it with each other. We get so blinded by our own fucking because it becomes a prideful bullshit thing. No, you can't prove me wrong. Instead of just accepting that, oh shit, I was wrong. You know what? When someone corrects you or gives you a warning that you're going down a destructive path, instead of taking offense to that, why don't you realize that if it's given in the spirit of, I'm just trying to save you a bunch of hassle down the road, why don't you take it in the spirit it was given to you? But no, we've been conditioned now. We assume each other's fucking intent. We don't even ask what a person's intent was with what they said. We just pin a tempt on their ass like it's pin the tail on a donkey.
We assume we know what they meant.
And run with it. Yes.
This is what you
Absolutely.
mean because we said so.
That's why I hate the dog whistle. Really? Okay. So in other words, you want to say every white person and every black person feels this way, whether they fucking voice it or not. Now, one of those statements you'll get thunderous applause for, and the other statement you'll get called a fascist, redneck, fucking KKK piece of shit for. But they do this. Both sides do the same thing to each other.
To me, that dog whistle term is something that they've come up with to inject race into something that has nothing to do with where they can't find racism.
Yeah, it's a shoehorn.
Oh, there's racism here,
Absolutely.
but you can't see it or hear it. But it's there. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is this dark? Okay, is racism dark matter then?
Yeah.
Is that what the fuck we're talking about here? Because I can call my friend who's an astrophysicist and we can have her get on and we can see what the fuck she says about it. Because I guarantee you she's going to say, no, racism's an observable fucking thing.
How long does the term dark matter have? Another 10 years, maybe? 5?
Oh, I don't know. Dude, I don't even know what's offensive anymore. I don't even fucking care. And you know what? You know what's beautiful? A lot of people I know, unless they're fucking part of the woke flake brigade or the maggots, they don't give a fuck either. They're done with being told what they can and can't say.
Yeah.
Because it's intellectually insulting to every person that you say you have to talk like a mentally fucking retarded 3-year-old because certain words I give so much power you can't say to them. When I hear them, you can't say them. Well, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
Yeah, no shit.
And the excuse, this is the problem. We stopped calling people on their bullshit 30 years ago, that as far as I could observe, because the whole the bullshit would start with, well, you can call me cracker, honky, gray meat, small dick, clap on 1 and 3, can't season chicken, don't know how to do anything. You can't satisfy a woman fucking Peckerwood all day, and I don't care. Yet if someone fucking says the word spook and they're talking about a fucking ghost, but there's a black person there, they could fucking fall over themselves. And in fact, in a lot of people's mind, if you say a racial slur to a black person, that justifies them committing physical violence against whoever. And we all should have been like, no, that's horse shit. That's a you problem. You're giving that word that much power. Don't tell us how to talk because you can't handle hearing a word.
Words only have the power you assign to them.
Doug Stanhope said it best. He's like, you're born in this world and you are a big fleshy blob of weakness. And it's not, your parents look at you and go, not weak enough. We have to make it weaker. So let's teach it that these sounds we've learned to fucking emit from our fucking food holes and we've assigned and prescribed meaning to, let's say that this word's more offensive than this one. He's like, that's how I can, basically he was like, that's how I spot intelligence in people. Like if there's one, you can't say cunt in front of her, she flips out. Well, she's a weak ass bitch. You can't call him a cocksucker, he'll fight you. Then he's a punk ass bitch. What?
And he's still going to fight you for that.
It's true.
And here's the problem is that maybe that's what we should have done. Maybe there should have been more fucking fist fights 30, 40 years ago over this shit. Maybe there should have been motherfuckers willing to fucking throw down over this shit. Because then we separate the people who really believe this shit and the people who are just claiming to believe it because they got the media and the educational system and academia propping them up, giving them fucking a false sense of security.
And God forbid you should sing a DMX song. Not in front of a black person. Don't do it.
I don't even look. Dude, that's such a fucking hack premise. Next time you bring it up, hang up on him, Chris. I'm dead serious. Don't ever bring up, why can't I fucking say nigger when I'm listening to a fucking rap song? You're done. Because it's a hack premise, bro. What's next? We're going to talk about why don't they make the entire plane out of what they make the black box out of? If the black box survives the crash. Come on, dude. What is this, 1980? We at the Chuckle Hut? Come on, man. Let's get deeper than puddles we step in.
Bro, I was just supporting your point. That's all.
I know, but it's the most fucking lazy, fucking not shortcut to thinking way to fucking do something, dude. Like, it really is. And that's what's got us in a lot of these fucking problems. Everyone's so quick to fucking go, oh, this is a problem. Okay, what's the solution? I don't know. Let the politicians fucking, regulate it or make laws and mandates, and then that'll solve everything. Really? How's that turned out for us?
Let's see what that university does, huh?
Well, I mean, dude, is anyone shocked? Bill C-16 in Canada. This is what got Jordan Peterson on the front page of a lot of people's fucking awareness. He was a psychology professor in Canada. All right? Very simply, University of Toronto was like, and the nation of Canada was attempting, I don't know if it ever passed, because be honest with you, I fell for the okie doke. They, instead of talking about we want to pass a bill that makes it illegal not to use someone's preferred pronouns to where you can be fined and or imprisoned, instead of talking about that, which is the real issue, the issue became Jordan Peterson's a Nazi and a fascist.
Of course.
And if you really look at what he says, all he's saying is take personal responsibility. Stop worrying about what your fucking neighbor is or isn't doing more than you worry about what you are doing or not yourself.
So I say all the time, if everyone just took care of their own shit, society would still happen. If you just took care of you and your own shit, everything would still run.
Well, no shit. It's done that for a long time in history, but we don't talk about that. That's history.
It's because, dude, we're raised in a society where you go to school, you get in line, you shut up when you're told to shut up, you talk when you're told to talk, you eat when you're told to fucking eat. I mean, we can act like this is not indoctrination, but indoctrination is just like the word propaganda. In and of itself, it's amoral. It does not care. It is like it's like the best economic book you can ever, or textbook you can ever read. It doesn't have an agenda. It's just stating this is observable fucking facts. But instead, and we indoctrinate kids. And seriously, you're going to sit here, anyone that can sit here and be like, oh yeah, well that's no public schools and parochial schools, big time, all about indoctrination. Go to a Catholic school. Your parents might send you there because they want you to have
10 years.
Your parents might send you there because they want you to have a better education, but the Catholic school is going to do the best to make you a lifelong Catholic so you can fucking fill their coffers for them.
Oh, they failed. They failed on that one.
Oh, I mean, but for every failure.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of a good example here of things they make in the factory. I'm a broken jar of peanut butter. I get it. You know, I never left the factory. I never made it off the line. Rest of them all, yeah, they made it out. They're going off to the grocery store to make more money.
You know, and a lot of our problems, and this is well-worn carpet, but a lot of our problems stem from at least one of the major branches, I think, that produce a lot of these problems is we don't have the daily fight for survival that they even had 100 years ago.
Oh, no.
Okay, the literacy rate is through the roof compared to 100 years ago. Life expectancy, even though it's starting to dip here in America in the last like 10 years or so, we're still in the 70s.
It is the best time in human history to be alive.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how come I just have to chuckle every time I hear some, Bible thumping evangelical Christian or end time fucking death cult is, oh, this is the worst time in history. It's a provable fact. And it's like, really? Really?
Oh, wait.
Are we literally dragging women out of their fucking houses and going, okay, you've been accused of being a witch, so here's your choices. You can confess and we'll burn you at the stake, or you can deny it and we'll tie a rock to you and throw you in the lake. And if you drowned, then you were innocent. If you fucking survive, you're a witch and we burn you at the stake.
You know how many things I get brought to my house just with my cell phone? Everything. There's Amazon for that. Every grocery store delivers. Every restaurant delivers. I can find a new wife.
Dog food.
Yeah, I can find a new wife. I can find a new dog. I could find an escort. Like, you can literally, yes, this is the best time to be alive. And that's the shit you can do through your phone.
I had a friend come to me, and probably, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and we were hanging out, but he basically was like, "Hey, do you remember a conversation we had like 23 years ago?" And I'm like, "Okay, dude, as good as my memory is, you got to give me more to go on in that."
Right.
And he's like, "Remember we were talking about like, what are all generations want to rebel. All generations want to leave their mark. They're going to know we've been here type thing. What is the generations after us going to rebel about?" And I'm like, I remember the conversation now. And I was like, oh, I think the next major fucking like big beef is going to be about gender. And he's like, you brought that up 23 years ago. I'm like, yeah, but I'll be honest with you. I thought it'd be more of a male versus female thing. I didn't see the trans thing and the gender's over, end of gender. That doesn't even, what does that mean? That is such a nonsensical statement. It's up there with, he died for your sins. What? That makes no sense to nobody,
and
except for you.
If he's going to rapture, dude, he's missed like 4 different times where he should have been here already. Just saying.
Oh, it's because it's not going to happen. Oh, now we're starting another podcast. Let's not do that. But, I mean, well, we're kind of into it. Earl, you tried to steer us into it early. Rich, you were talking about there's a college in Pennsylvania that's going to try to police pronoun use.
Yeah, here, let me grab the article real quick.
Yeah, because that's going to happen.
Okay. So, university, I'm reading from the article right now. University in Pennsylvania told students that action could be taken, in quotes, against them if they do not respect their classmates' preferred pronouns. Point Park University's Office of Equity and Inclusion notified incoming students of its misgendering, pronoun misuse, and dead naming policy in an email first obtained by Campus Reform. It stated that any individual who has been informed of another person's gender identity, pronouns, or chosen name is expected to respect that individual. It said action would be taken if a complaint is filed regarding the policy. Continue the quote. While the university recognizes the aspect of intent versus impact, we must recognize that regardless of intent, if an individual is impacted in a harmful way, action could be taken if a complaint is filed.
Thank you, word police.
Mm-hmm. And once again, so can I just put this in the ever-growing file of, oh, this will never happen, you're worried about nonsense?
Well, if you defund the police, who's going to enforce it?
No, I mean, if we want to jump subjects like that, yeah.
No, but I'm not trying to jump subject, but I'm just generally those same people will probably tell you be on that side of things.
I said it in a joking manner, like that'll never happen, and you said it, bro. It could at this point. Would not surprise the shit out of me if that happened, and that became nationwide.
I'd like to find a cop who's going to do that, because that is you talk about trampling on your First Amendment rights right there.
Well, yeah, but you also can't use a racial slur.
Yeah, but here's the deal: where is it illegal to say any racial slur? Where are you going to prison and being charged?
Now,
for
if you say
saying a word.
Now, if you say a racial slur while you're killing somebody,
that's a hate crime.
Yeah.
But if you start a fight or are in a fight and throw out a racial slur, that's a hate crime.
Wait,
which,
isn't
by
it?
The way,
well, no, yeah.
Every fight I've ever been in with a black guy, I've been called a white bitch and some other form of a racial slur. Mm-hmm. Never once fucking brought it up when we were sitting in the principal's office or talking to the cops, because I mean, I don't give a fuck.
What's it? Well, ethnic intimidation is a thing.
To physically harm me. That bothers me more than what you call me with your words that are harmless.
All I'm saying, and I don't want to skew too far into the race thing again because we did that, but what I'm saying is racial slurs are frowned upon and policed in a fight. The word fire in a crowded theater. So in today's age, to me, unfortunately, it's not so far-fetched that a pronoun or misuse of would be policed.
Well, you also have just the hyperbole of words are violence. Silence is violence. Everything that we don't like is violence. And these are people that probably never really experienced true violence. Let me tell you something. Anybody who grew up fighting I mean, really fight. Unless they're a fucking psycho or sociopath, you get tired of it at a certain point. You start to realize that beating the shit out of people to impose your will upon them is not an effective way of imposing your will upon anybody or convincing anybody to do anything. Because the minute they're out from under your thumb, they're gone. They're not going to sit there and take that shit. That's why condescending and talking shit to people to try to get them to do what you want produces the exact opposite effect. And that is not by accident. That is totally by design. We've taught 2 generations to bully people to get their fucking way. And this was after us being the tail end of the generation where bullying was zero tolerance.
You know, it's kind of funny you brought that up because that's actually what I was thinking. There's going to be bullies until the end of time, and there could be a bully that, you know, a personal pronoun is misused. I don't even know what they are, to be honest with you. But it could be misused and cause this person to go home and kill themselves, cut themselves, or whatever. And now that person is going to be charged with that crime.
There's always going to be strong people who can pick out and identify and exploit weak people. That's it. Humans. That's animals. Dude, that goes on in the animal kingdom.
That's nature, period.
Yeah.
That's what, but we are not dealing with people who've ever been taught reality. We deal with people who we've created this bubble of artificial safety for the most part.
Yep.
That people think that they're bulletproof inside of, and they're not bulletproof, and they're not enlightened. They're just insane to believe it. I mean, if you want to see the real human nature come out in force, remember the fucking 2003 blackout? Let that happen for a week straight nationwide.
Dude, that was before smartphones. Oh my God, we'd be in Mad Max times in like 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, do we need any more proof of it than, once again, there's going to be a shortage in toilet paper. Motherfuckers, I was watching videos, 20-minute compilation videos of big, fat, 50-year-old twats and 60-year-old fucking men throwing fucking haymakers at each other over a fucking 4-pack of Charmin.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to fucking tell me that, no. Human nature is we all sit around, sing Kumbaya, hold each other's fucking ball hair and share?
No.
I was telling everyone the same thing. I've told you guys a million times. We had to invent laws and religion to make us behave. If we were inherently good, we wouldn't have that. Police and religion would not exist.
Look, one of my blind spots is I tend to assume that everybody else experiences the very basics of the world the same way I do. And that's a huge flaw in my fucking, it's a blind spot in my vision. Like I'm a stroke victim. I just cannot see that. So I have to learn to look at it from a different angle to spot it, because if I look it dead on, I can't see it.
Yep.
And I think what I've learned is, like me, and when I do something that's just wrong, whether or not I was taught it was wrong, most of what I was taught was right or wrong falls along the lines of evangelical Christian Southern Baptist upbringing. I mean, besides like don't kill, don't steal, don't rape, etc., don't fuck children, don't fucking shit like that. I've just rejected everything else they're taught because it's all dogmatic bullshit. But like, I know when I do something wrong, I feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
Like this isn't right.
There is inherent right and wrong. Yeah. Like there is, you know it. You know when you're doing something shitty. You know it.
It's called morals, yeah.
I've been at a party where a chick is sloppy drunk, maybe blacked out, and if not blacked out, definitely browned out. And there's some scumbag piece of shit motherfucker who's pawing at her. And in a handful of situations, I've actually taken it so far as to get into a physical altercation with that person and or their friends to keep them away from that chick, because fuck you, dude. You ain't got nothing good planned for her if you're fucking waiting until she's in this state to come over and start pawing at her. It's not like this is your girlfriend and she just drank a little bit more and you're thinking, I might get some booty butt sex tonight. I could be a booty warrior. No. This is some broad you couldn't pick out of a lineup tomorrow. And you're just like every predator in nature, in humans, you look for the weakest and you look for the easiest. And she's fucking blackout or brown out drunk, and you think you got an easy mark here. Not why I'm standing here. And Earl, you can back that up because you've been at some of those fucking parties.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't give a fuck who it was. not physically pulled my friend off of some. Well, no, actually, twice I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I've like, hey man, hey look, no, dude, no, because I'm not fucking going down and trying to bail you out on a rape beef tomorrow. If you're that fucking horny, go in the bathroom, get a moist towel, and take care of your fucking self. Are you fucking kidding me? What's wrong with you?
Moist.
Bro, you ain't got to be like that.
Ooh,
No, I fucking do, dude. Obviously. Now, why did I do that? I mean, you know, I'm the misogynistic He-Man woman hater of the group. I should, like, you know, cheer from the top of the tallest mountain that I can get my fat ass on top of if a woman gets sexually assaulted, according to certain fucking groups and their schools of thought, right?
You have morals, dude. That's all.
Right is right, wrong is wrong. And if that person didn't give you permission to touch them, that person didn't give you permission to do that to them, you are violating their very basic human rights, and that makes you less than human in my mind. You're a piece of shit. And I don't care, male, female, non-binary, bug self, whatever the fuck you call yourself these days. Doesn't matter. And, you know, I'm not going to apologize for that.
Mm-mm.
Why should I? You know who needs to apologize? People who let shit like that slide. Everyone who fucking kept their mouth shut about Harvey Weinstein. Everyone who kept their fucking mouth shut about, you know, now, especially now that I've heard and learned all the more shit that was fucking, that people like Roman Polanski have done, giving like 13, 14-year-old chicks drugs and fucking them when they're dosed out of their mind. That was his go-to move. Everyone who protected Bill Cosby, because you think skin folk or kin folk, you're a piece of shit. He's a fucking rapist. I don't care if he's black or white. He's a rapist. The fuck is wrong with you? But we've totally lost sight of the fucking true north on our moral compass because, no, oh shit, oh man, he's black. I got to be on his side. He's white and he's a Trump supporter. I'm on his side, so I got to defend him. No. Stop defending pieces of shit out of obligation. You don't owe them anything. Call them the fuck out. Put them on the fucking carpet. What are you fucking doing, asshole?
It's a
Did you think, dude, I'm sure we've seen it or heard stories about it. You know, major fucking, like, especially like up here in Michigan, man, we have field parties. You might have 4 or 5 big bonfires going over a 20-acre fucking stretch of land. And there's always going to be, you know, people who can't handle their booze or just get too fucked up. And, you know, all of a sudden you start seeing this guy who you've got the fucking creepy rapist vibe off of all fucking night, dragging a chick who's passed out into the bushes. Now, are you just going to sit there and let that fucking happen, or are you going to go do something?
I'm on it. I'm on my way.
I mean, I don't know if you remember this, Chris, but one of the first get-togethers we had at Specs was at one of our fellow students' house, and a fight broke out upstairs. And the next thing I know, the dude's house that we're at, I just see him wailing on this chick. I jumped in the middle. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And the dude grabbed me, turned on me, and was like, rah, 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 rah. And I was like...
Wasn't that Jason Mullins?
I didn't want to do that.
Oh.
But you might want to edit that out. Just saying. But especially since you dropped the last name.
Oh, there's tons of dudes like that. We can drop our names.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I guess. But, I mean, like, I jumped in, dude. Because
I was not at that party. I heard about that party.
Okay. And I'm like, you're beating on a chick who's like 5'2", and you're like 6'1".
Oh, I know it's beating on too.
And you know what? It turned out to be over?
Freddie dropped enough names.
His girlfriend had beef with the chick, and they both were drunk, and they both started talking shit to each other. And I don't know who, but one of the chicks fucking shoved the other one, and then they went to fucking hair pulling and slapping. And the guy who was hosting the party, it was his girlfriend. They got into the fight with the chick, the little 5'2" chick. So he jumped on her and started wailing on her because she was fucking slap fighting it out with his girlfriend. I didn't see any of that. I just hear a bunch of commotion. I turn around and I just see a 6'1" dude holding its 5'2" chick up by the front of her shirt, wailing on her. So I jumped in, just to break it up. Like, what the fuck, bro? Dude, we're all going to jail if you do this. What the fuck is it? Like, self-preservation should make you fucking want to break this up. Because when the cops show up, bunch of fucking burly motherfuckers drunk, little 5'2", innocent-looking sweet thing. Who the fuck you think they're going to listen to? We're all going to jail. And let me tell you something. If I go to jail for another motherfucker, you ain't locked in here. I ain't locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me, motherfucker. You better yell for the guard and hope he hears you. I'm going to tell you that right fucking now. Because I'm going to do my best to beat the shit out of you in that fucking holding cell.
No,
I do not need to be here.
He ain't making it to jail. If I'm going to jail because of him, I'm going to go to jail because of me.
Dude, that was a standing rule in our group of friends. If your dumb ass gets us all arrested, you won't be going to the jail. Not first. You'll go to the hospital first or the fucking morgue. Period. End of story. Like, dude, I'm not fucking doing time and posting bail because someone couldn't keep their mouth shut or their hands to themselves.
Damn right. No, if I got to go, well, I'm going to make sure it's because of me.
But I mean, okay, now here's the weird thing. That's what, 22 years ago? Now, 22 years later, if you go on like certain sites where people ask anonymous questions or Reddit or, Quora or whatever the fuck it's called and all that shit, people be like, if you saw a guy beating on a woman, would you jump in? It's amazing how people with this who are quote unquote progressives and, are women's, they're feminists and all this shit, male, female, doesn't matter. Like, you figure they'd be in lockstep, right? Like, of course you should go in and defend someone who can't defend themselves. Well, you don't know that situation, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? You people cancel and ruin people's fucking lives and livelihood over a tweet from 15 years ago. And yet you're willing to fucking watch some guy beat the shit out of a chick on the off chance that she might have deserved it? Aren't you supposed to be the tolerant, peace-loving group side, the progressive side? The side who handles shit without violence? Why are you just as bad as all the other people that you want to take power from? You're just as evil as them.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Addiction is a disease that impacts all of us. Whether you, your neighbor, friend, or family member is struggling, everyone feels the pain of addiction. Recovery Centers of America wants you to know that addiction treatment works and recovery is possible. Call 1-888-RECOVERY now for help for yourself or a loved one. Recovery Centers of America in South Amboy and Mays Landing have helped thousands in the greater New York and New Jersey areas start a better, healthier way of life through their evidence-based inpatient and outpatient treatment programs. The caring team of physicians and clinicians at RCA see their patients as so much more than their addiction and are deeply committed to providing expert care with heart. Recovery Centers of America knows that every day in active addiction is a day in isolation, which is why they admit new patients 24/7 year-round. Don't wait. Make the call that can change everything. Call 1-888-RECOVERY now. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.
When you're sick, every minute counts. So don't go anywhere. Go to dispatchhealth.com where high-quality medical care comes directly to you. No getting out of a sick bed. No crazy driving to an emergency room. No endless paperwork. No hospital waiting rooms. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about our medical professionals, then make house calls. Dispatch Health is covered by Medicare and most major insurance. Go to dispatchhealth.com.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
I mean, let's just fucking get into it. The shit going on in Texas. Chris, you shared that fucking article. Break it down for us.
Oh, yeah. There's been a credible threat against all of the Texas lawmakers who voted for the abortion bill. From the FBI has informed them. So people who don't want to be labeled murderers are threatening to murder people. Like some of the things that said, they said, we will end you. Like, I think I'm trying to quote / paraphrase at the same time. I mean, more proof irony is dead, everybody.
But I mean, we went through this when we were younger. We didn't go through it personally. I don't think any of us, unless someone's got a really awesome story they need to tell. The abortion clinic bombings and shootings and shit. I want to save people's babies' lives, because murder's wrong. So I'm going to murder somebody, and I'm going to do it in the name of God. That gives me my justification. Well, what's going on here? Well, you're going to ban abortion and force women to go to back alleys and they're going to die. So to save these women's lives, I'm going to kill you because I don't want anyone to die. Huh? Explain this to me again.
It's the same dumb logic from the other direction.
Uh-huh. And by the way,
well,
yeah,
their
just
logic,
like there's no slippery slope theory, there's no such thing as horseshoe theory either.
Their logic is sacrifice one to save many.
Okay, and
Just
if
saying,
that's
their logic, not my logic.
Okay, if that's the logic that we want to go forward in this society, then might makes right. And let me tell you something. all these fucking, these horrible MAGA hat white people that you all hate, they own most of the fucking weapons. And everyone who's in the military, they're not drafted. They're volunteered. And yeah, you'll have people that will fire on fucking American citizens. But you also have people that will refuse and turn around and start shooting fucking people telling them to fire on American citizens because they agree with them. So if you want to fucking boil it down to might makes right, you're just as bad as the people you wanted to fucking wrestle power away from. Why should we listen to you? Give me something new. Don't reheat the same leftovers from a week ago and throw a layer of fucking shredded cheese on it and call it a new meal. I'm over that shit. That's the banana in the tailpipe okie doke. Get the fuck over it, folks. You can't fall for this shit anymore. It's just they're not even hiding it. And if they are, they're hiding the shit in plain sight because the hypocrisy is just rampant. Like how many times when we were growing up, well, first of all, we came of age near the tail end of Christianity really having a strong foothold in this country. I mean, it was slipping before we were born, but it was it was really slipping by the time the 90s rolled around.
And now,
now they're not even in power.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're like the gay cowboys or something. Like there's such a small group, no one even hardly panders to them, unless they live in a notch in the Bible Belt area and they know that during a local election that'll play well. How many people talk about going to church and Jesus in their fucking speeches and shit when they're running for national office anymore?
Only down south.
And I'm talking about national offices.
What's it like? Dude, if you're running for like state senator or even senator, DC senator, probably maybe, especially if you're in like Georgia. But it's
running for president.
No, God no. God. Oh no. I mean,
but it's the non-denominational God.
They tried to get. Remember Trump saying he went to church or whatever in 2016? That might be the last time I heard that shit. But yeah, I don't hear about you don't hear about Joe Biden going to church.
God-fearing Christian, yeah.
No. And I mean, look, I have no problem with that. We have a clear separation of church and state in this fucking country. The church should have never had as much influence over the state, and the state should never have gotten as deep in the bed. State should have never gotten into bed with any church, period, end of story. From the get-go. But you can't lock the barn door after the horse has been gone for over 100 fucking years. But those people, let's not bullshit ourselves. Those people are not in positions of visible power anymore. Who knows what goes on really behind the fucking curtains? We don't know because we're not privy to that. Well, but I can tell you, in society, in media, in movies, dude, go back and watch the first. This is how much shit's changed in less than a decade. Or a decade, because I think the first Avengers movie came out in 2011. Go back and watch the first Avengers movie. There's a part where some civilian says in front of Captain America, like, oh, that person's a god. And he goes, there's only one god, ma'am. And you know what he's referring to.
He's Captain America.
Now, that's absolutely in character for Captain America, who, by the way, just to remind everybody, in case you don't know, whose character in the films had been frozen in 1945 or whenever the fuck it was.
And wasn't he a soldier?
And he was a soldier, God-fearing American.
So yeah, that's back when it was God, country, and
he's thawed out. And in the span of like a year, as far as like in the Marvel universe, you expect him all of a sudden to be an atheist with blue hair and changing his pronouns? But people got pissed off. And it's a fictional character espousing a virtue that is completely on brand for that character. Yep. But it was an issue. They don't even bring that shit up anymore. That shit was dropped. It was... Show me a Marvel movie that promotes any type of traditional religion. I'll wait. That's what I'm saying, folks. Crickets. Like, that was it. That was the last fucking straw. Because they got so much blowback 10 years ago. You try that shit now, that movie would be labeled as alt-right, racist dog whistle, fascist bullshit, and it would be fucking boycotted out of existence. And if you don't believe me, look around at the movies that have fucking been boycotted. Well, and here's the deal. You ain't got to have a big fucking group to boycott. You just have to have the media agree with you, and they just stop fucking covering it. That's our boycotts these days, when the media ignores you.
Yeah. Well, with all of the altar boy issues, if you will, that the church has had, they've had just a plethora of negativity. The last person in office that I think really ruined it for, Christian, God-fearing president, Barack Obama, because his pastor or whatever said some things and did some things, and they were like, ooh. And so now nobody talks about their church.
Well, I mean, granted, he didn't do what they had him doing in the Boondocks, which was hilarious. America can eat a dick. America can suck the balls. America can kiss my ass. He didn't say all that. But yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I think personally, that's the biggest hit evangelical Christians have taken in the last 20 years. That is the most ungodly man who fucking tries to cloak himself in Christ-like righteousness. Mm-hmm. And we let him do it. You trace back most of this country's fucking worst fuck-ups of the last 20 years, and the genesis of it was all born with that administration. But
he's got that all shucks look. And he paints now, so we like
bullshit charm. Yep.
He paints now, so we like him.
Yeah, him and Michelle got a bromance going.
Right? He's
whatever the fuck
porking Michelle behind Barack's back.
And Barack's probably like, good, because I got Beyonce showing up, and
right,
Jay-Z don't know she here. So you go ahead and get with W there with his whiskey dick. I'm gonna go ahead and fucking nail Queen Bey over here. All right,
yeah, probably
not
could.
So sure, W is gonna match up, but whatever.
I mean, Jay-Z's a well-documented cheater, so he probably could nail Beyonce if he wanted to.
But I mean, like the war in Iraq. Do we even need to get into that? How much of a failure that fucking was?
WMDs.
The absolute lies that we were fucking sold. The war crimes committed in our name. Fuck that. Like, look, yeah, I get it. He might be the type of guy who you can sit down and have a beer with and have some laughs. Non-alcoholic for him, of course. But whatever the fuck. But that doesn't mean he's a good person, dude. There's plenty of people I could sit down with in prison who are on death row for murdering and raping children and probably have a pretty good conversation with. That doesn't mean I want them to fucking... They're not on my Christmas card list, and they're not babysitting my kids. I mean, what is so hard to understand about that? And what it is we want simplicity. We want to be like, you're all good, you're all bad, and there's no in between. There's no nuance. Context doesn't matter. I read you a direct quote from the university in Pennsylvania. Intent versus impact. Regardless of context, they've ejected facts from the equation and said it's how someone perceives it that makes it the problem. Oh, so I'm the asshole here because someone isn't fucking grounded in reality. Okay. Good to know. Dude, I'm not bullshitting. I'm fucking watching this video the other day because I do shit like that. I guess I probably shouldn't. I actually watch like what people who I disagree with are saying because I want to hear the bullshit they say. And I don't watch it and like, ooh, I hate you so much. Ooh, and get my heart on hate, my hate heart on going. I watch it and I pay very close attention to shit they say. And this chick comes on, and I've watched a couple of her videos. I don't remember her name. I'm not going to give her the free advertisement. But she, her video pops up on the YouTube suggested list. I'm like, I haven't watched one of hers in a while. Let me take a look at this. And I click it, and she changed her pronouns. Her pronouns are now Goddess and Her Majesty. And no, she's not joking. And I'm like,
what?
Her pronouns are Goddess and Her Majesty. Now, if I am a fucking professor at a university, and this fucking thunder cunt rolls her fucking land whale ass into my fucking room and tells me that's her pronouns and I have to respect them, get the fuck out of my face.
My new pronoun is Big Daddy.
Why not? Dude, I'm not bullshit. Dude, I've told you about other kin, people who think they're part dragon, that their soul and their real self is, it's my dragon self. There's people who, the new hotness on Reddit a couple weeks ago was to change your pronouns because to some sort of bug. So it's like my pronouns are bug and bug self. What the fuck does that even mean?
Are we living in Mortal Kombat and shit? What the fuck? You gonna animality somebody?
My new pronoun is Sub-Zero.
I mean, it's madness, dude. And we fucking let it happen. Why? I don't know. Because I guess it's easier to go along with. Shut up, let them have their way. Hope they outgrow it. Okay, great, wonderful. But that's never how this shit works, guys. It never works this way. We were at the my point of bringing up, we were at the tail end of Christianity having a foothold, a stronghold in this country, is that the stronghold now belongs to the progressives. And whether or not corporate interests actually believe anything they're saying, they'll pander to them. They'll prop them up because, hey, we can pump more money out of them.
That's why you now have Subaru, made with love.
Well, I mean, every Pride Month, you know, all these companies change their logo to a rainbow logo. And people have gotten so like, ooh, that means something, that there are actual, like, LGBT like groups in the LGBT community going around collecting examples of all these companies that you think fucking care about you. They don't change their shit to this in any Middle Eastern country. They don't change their shit to this in Russia or China. Why is that? If they really believed in LGBT rights, they would take that stand and let the heavens fall. They don't give a fuck because they think they're righteous. They're not righteous. They even have a term for it. It's called rainbow capitalism. That's what they call it. I was calling that out 5 fucking years ago, and I was told to shut up because I'm a fucking homophobe and transphobe and every other fucking istophobe that you could invent. Now you have people from the very community that I was trying to give a heads up to saying the same thing. And yeah, there's blowback, but not as much as you'd expect. And you know what that tells me? People don't want the truth. People want people they like to tell them the truth.
Where's Jack Nicholson when I need him?
Chilling because he's like 80.
You can't handle the truth. God, I love that speech.
Yeah, but you're missing my point, dude.
No, I'm not.
And as usual, yeah, because you're fucking throwing in a joke that has nothing to do with my point. Point is, it's not that the truth bothers them. They can handle the truth. It's that, how dare you tell me the truth when you're not one of me, one of us, one of my tribe? What tribe is that? The tribe of who you're attracted to sexually? That's not a tribe. That's a sexual orientation. The completely fucking, according to any scientist worth a shit, completely arbitrary color of your skin that has nothing to do with nothing. I mean, maybe if you'd say culture, nationality, religion, those are like, I don't know, common interests, common things where we all can go, hey, we were all alive in America at this point in time. We all went through this shit. Yeah, we may have experienced it differently, but we all went through it. So this is a common point we can come back and rally to if we need to. But we don't do that. Now we're dividing each other up over nonsense. I mean, if you, I don't know how close, I mean, I know Earl's situation. I'm not going to put your business in the streets. Up to you. You want to do it. But Chris, I mean, I don't know how really close you are to your family as far as like the family that disagrees with you ideologically, as far as religion or, you know, philosophy or politics. But I mean, it is now the norm for entire families. They have like 3-4 different Thanksgivings and shit.
Oh fuck!
And this
no.
person can't. No. This person can't go to this one, and this person can't come to this one. And I'm just like, why?
They just, at this point, we just don't talk about religion. Like, they bring it up, and I just smile and nod, and they talk their Jesus stuff. They just know to not bring it. Like, fuck no, it ain't like that. There's no grudges being held or whatever. Like, because my family is that crazy breed of religious person that, you know, I don't know, walks the walk. Like, that's not your thing? Fine, we're not going to hassle you for it. We still love you. You're still our fucking family. Now sit down, eat this turkey.
I swear to God, my favorite quote from Bill Maher in his documentary Religious List is, "Thank you for being Christ-like and not Christian."
Yeah.
And it's funny because I said that to a family member of mine who's a, you know, evangelical Christian and all this, and they just didn't understand. I don't get that's an insult. I'm like, no, that's actually the highest compliment you can pay a Christian. It's just you don't like him because you've already decided to get your nose out of joint about anything he says, regardless of how much he backs it up and can prove it. End of story. And that's where a lot of us are at as a society. And I mean, like, it's not just, you know, Hollywood and famous people and people on TV getting canceled. Like, you can see the cracks in the fucking armor when people like Tucker Carlson, you know, it comes out that the FBI was investigating someone who Tucker Carlson had exchanged emails with, and his name got leaked as a person of interest, and he gets on his fucking show and he goes on a self-righteous tirade about how dare the fucking FBI and the NSA look into his shit and put his name out there like that. And I'm just going, you stupid, simple fuck. Did you think you were fucking impervious to this? You're just a mouthpiece for these people. The people in control have no more respect for you than they do for me. You're just a useful pawn. Maybe not a pawn. We're more the pawn. You're a useful rook who can get your face in front of people and have the gift of gab enough to convince people to go along with what you're saying. But ultimately, step out of line. We'll jerk you back in real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Why is anyone shocked? Seriously, would you be shocked if our politicians weren't in Washington weren't immune from the Freedom of Information Act, and we could just contact the FBI, the National Security Agency, and go, I want every single piece of fucking paper with my name on it that you have. Everything unredacted. I want the raw fucking paperwork. And they have to give it to us. Would you be shocked that you guys' names come up?
No.
I mean, even if it's 2-3 sheets of paper.
No.
And what's the rationale? You said something that was subversive to America and American values.
Or posted something. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. People think they're once again, you think you're protected. You're not protected, folks. You're not. You're protected as much as you can afford to hire a high power attorney. That's it. That's as much as you're protected. And if you ain't got that fucking OJ Dream Team money, you ain't protected, bro. Sorry about your luck, sweetheart. Hope you get used to making fucking ramen noodles at the canteen. You know what I'm saying? Because that's about, and someone put money on your commissary, because that's all the fuck you're going to fucking have. Fuck around, piss off the wrong people, find out just how much power you don't have in this world. I mean, we said it. Don't pay your fucking, you own your house outright? Don't have a note on it to a bank, to a finance company? You think you own your house? Don't pay your fucking property taxes for 2 years. Find out how quick you don't own your house. And here's the bitch of it. You never own that house. The government owns that property, and they have a piece of paper that says they'll let you live on it until you don't pay enough, or someone along the line in your family, you die and it gets passed on, and someone fucks up and doesn't do the right paperwork, and then they're going to come swoop in and get it. And
shit.
I'm
they
speaking
also have
from
paperwork
experience.
that says if they need it, they'll come get it. Whether you pay
Eminent
for it
domain.
or not.
And by the way, once again, so you hate America? You hate your country? Hate's a very strong word. No. How can I hate an idea? America's an idea. I mean, ultimately, that's what it is. I mean, we're an idea, and what holds us together is we're a nation of laws, essentially. I mean, even that we can't agree on. The drumbeat for success, to break this country up into 2-3 different fucking smaller countries is amazing. Because it's starting to hit mainstream people who are in the mainstream's consciousness and in their line of sight. Case in point, Sarah Silverman gets on her podcast the last week and is like, yeah, maybe we need to break up the country in 2 separate fucking countries.
Okay.
I mean, this is how much we've been sold, that there is no way out of this except for us just to fucking just divide completely. That there's no reconciliation. This is something Todd talked about on his that stretch that he did about propaganda and everything else. One of his points he always came back to, and it was a very valid point, whether you agree with the man or not on other things, is no matter what the outcome of the 2020 election, one side of this country is going to have to reconcile itself with the other side. And I don't see how we're going to do that at this point.
No, there were some serious lines drawn in the last 4 years.
Absolutely.
I heard a talk show host today say that the Republican Party they needed to flounder. They needed to go away. And I'm sitting here going, okay, if we let the Republican Party and or the Democratic Party flounder and just go away, then we're a one-party country.
Well, it'll come back as something else.
And if we're a one-party country...
Oh, yeah.
But that's people trying to limit the exposure and basically limit the chance that their power could be taken from them. And they understand that the less political parties, the less choice we have, the more they can consolidate and snatch power.
Yeah, I'm not down with that.
We don't need less parties. We need more parties.
Yes.
Oh, my God, do we need more?
We need 12 parties, not one party.
Yes.
We're the only 2-party system in the world for a country. The only one, is that because we're right?
Well,
the rest of the planet is wrong?
I mean, do you really believe the election results from North Korea and Russia? I mean, that's just a one-party system. I mean, it's still not a two-party system.
Totally legit above board. Putin said so.
There's someone. Yeah, I know. I won again with 98.9% of the vote.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, sure, great, wonderful. And in North Korea, there ain't even no need to talk. That's some Papa Doc, Baby Doc shit. That's being passed. Power's being passed down through that family. Remember when fat young Sung Cream and whatever the fuck young guy was like he had disappeared for a couple of weeks during the COVID thing, and they're like, oh, did he die? Is he sick? Is his sister going to take over? And I'm like, look, and nothing against my sister and my brother, but if I'm in a band as a guitar player and I drop dead on stage of a heart attack, neither of them can come up and take over just because they're related.
Well, that's how it works here, right? A senator dies, his wife gets the job.
And that is absolutely fucking ridiculous. No, and senator, no, I think it's more congressperson. I'm sure it's happened with senator. I'm not, but it's much more frequently with congress people because name recognition. Seriously, people will just go in and be like, oh, I recognize that name. I recognize that name. I recognize that name. And then, I mean, it's like the people that go in and just vote straight party. It doesn't matter to them. Their thing isn't party. Their thing is name recognition. I mean, that's why it's so rare to see like a senior fucking congressperson get booted out from someone running for Congress for the first time. That's why when people die or when someone retires or steps down, there's the mad scramble from fucking both sides to take over that seat because they know unless there's like pure fuckery level of corruption going on that gets exposed to the public, they probably are going to hold that seat for a good 20 years. Easy.
I don't think I knew until the 2012 election, maybe even the 2016 election, that you didn't have to vote for everything. Like that you could just go in and just because here's a ballot. You got to fucking vote for everything. I didn't know. So
yeah, why would you know that? How many civics classes you have in school?
I mean, American government senior year.
Okay,
one semester.
And looking back, do you think they taught you everything you need to know about the American government in that period of time?
Oh God, I had a public school teacher. They were just the guy retired like the next year. He was checked out.
Yeah, he was a pussy counting the days so he could start jerking off to midget porn. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I got you. So yeah, so in other words, no.
Yeah,
and that's the way they like it.
And that's what I would do. Like, oh, I know this person's name. I know who that. Sure, I've heard that. Yeah, and then, oh, wait, I don't have to vote for people I don't know? Cool, president, done. See ya.
Absolutely.
I'd rather make no decision than an uninformed decision, but I guess I'm in the minority.
Well, it's like, last year, on the run-up to the election, I decided to answer the phone and take a political poll. I've always hung up on the people or just ignored the call. And this guy starts asking him, it took an hour to take this poll, even though he said it'd take 15 minutes. And the poll was broken into two very distinctive sections with a very clear line separating the two. And on the front, it was, do you know who's running in this district? No. Well, what's your opinion of who's running? I just told you I don't know who's running. I can't have an informed opinion about that. And I mean, this is one of the reasons it also took an hour, because I was like, hold on a sec. Do people actually answer no to the first question and then give an opinion, the second one? And he's like, I can't tell you what other people say. I'm like, has it happened that you've heard of? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, that's all I need to know. These are people that, one, they're uninformed, but they still think that like somehow their opinion carries as much weight as someone who's studied something. It's like the anti-vaxxers who, read an article on the Blaze or Fox News, and all of a sudden they're experts on everything.
All of a sudden, all the doctors we've seen come out of the woodwork in the last 16 months.
Absolutely. And it's just nonsense, dude. But I mean, you don't have to pass any type of IQ test. You don't have to. The reason we can't have voter ID is because I believe it's the 14th Amendment that says there can be no poll tax because, yeah, we were that shady in the past where we actually charge people for the right to vote. You got to pay us. You want to vote, you got to pay. And we ban that. So any government ID that's issued to you specifically to vote that's paid for by taxes or you have to pay for to the government directly is indirectly a poll tax.
However, I would argue at 2021, you cannot function in society without an ID anymore.
Dude, the people are going to make arguments, and they're going to find the one case of this 65-year-old woman who's never learned to drive, and she lives in the worst hood you can imagine, and she doesn't have an ID, and she's all on her own.
Or
and,
backwoods, Tennessee.
Some Appalachian, white trash, drinking the same water they shit out of the bucket they shit and piss in, and, eating fucking possum and shit, and, all
I
that.
argue these are people not participating in society anyway.
It's not, but there's your case for you don't need an ID.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're going to sit there and give me, and you're going to say, well, what about someone who, and then describe basically how the Unabomber lived? He was off grid. I don't think he cared about voting. So I'm right there with you. I don't think you're describing someone who's going to beat down the fucking door of the local fucking school to pull a lever.
And grandma can get a mail-in ballot, and that's voter ID in a sense anyway, because they're sending it to where you live.
Right?
No, you don't have to pay to get the mail-in ballot.
But
they're going to send it to They're going to send it to your address. Well,
yeah, but somebody paid for the stamp and the postage.
Well, yeah, it's called your taxes.
Which once again,
poll tax.
Boom, there you go. This is what happens when you let people who have no interest in having a clear line of vision from the top of where the water is to the bottom of the fucking lake. They want to muddy it up as much as possible. All bullshit aside, I don't give a fuck what anyone fucking says unless they can fucking throw some hard fucking facts with some fucking Loctite evidence to back it up in front of me. Republicans don't want it. The less people that vote, the better chance Republicans have. You're absolutely right. But I'm going to tell you what. You got Democrats in predominantly red states who are trying to climb up the political ladder, and they don't want those Republicans voting any more than Republicans want a bunch of fucking blue state fucking supporters in their little Republican stronghold of the blue state voting, because they know it's not going to go their way. And they'll do whatever the fuck they need to do.
Well, and we saw this last election how the mail-in ballots can be fraudulent. You fucking live in a house, you get 4 or 5 different mail-in ballots.
Oh boy.
People don't even live there.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, look, I'll take it as far as this to agree with you, because I don't care about anecdotal evidence of people that claim that shit, and you're like, where's the ballots? And they're like, I don't have them, I threw them out. Well, then you're an idiot. Shut up.
They posted them on Facebook.
Oh,
pictures upon pictures.
Stop. If you're not going to let me finish, don't bring up a subject. Okay? Charlie LaDuff lives in Detroit. The house he lives in, he bought from an old woman who'd lived there pretty much her entire life. Her and her family. Okay? He got exactly what you said. 4 or 5 mail-in ballots. He said, I could have filled all of them out and sent them in, and no one would have been any of the fucking wiser. And he goes, to be honest with you, I don't even know if there'd have been repercussions if they caught me. It's not like Detroit is like really worried about voter fraud as far as being the big crime spree in their fucking city limits.
Oh, he did do the other side of the coin, though, too. I feel like we're in Bizarro world. We're making the point the other person would have made. He has gone down and he's worked some elections since then, and he's like, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, like, and anything that's going on is going on like it goes on every election. Somebody's like, I see a lot of Trump fucking votes in this stack. Knock that off into the trash. Ooh, okay, so someone just knocked off 50 votes for Trump. That's why, once again, I've said this a million times, but maybe it just needs to be said a million more. Voter fraud happens every election. It's to the degree that it happens that we need to focus on. Somebody's going to attempt to rig an election during an election year. End of fucking story. So when the Democrats or the Republicans win an election and come out and go, there was absolutely no voter fraud, you know you're being lied to. Why do you trust anything these people tell you when they just told you a bold-faced lie?
Where's Russia this election, by the way? Russia just set 2020 out? They fucked 2016? That's it?
I don't know. I guess because China's the new Biden, supposedly China's puppet, like Trump was Russia's puppet.
Did you see articles of impeachment were introduced against Biden?
And like I said, 2 of our last 4 presidents have been impeached, and they didn't miss a fucking minute of work because of it.
Yeah,
and what the fuck does it matter?
I know, right? It's okay, we're going to play this game again.
It's like the recalls. It's nonsense.
In California.
Like, I mean, okay, so you have to get of registered voters in California And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to pass on bad information. I'm just going by what I picked up from every news story that I watched about this pathetic situation in California. California's recall policy is of registered voters, 51% have to sign a petition saying they'd be willing to vote in a recall election. If that happens, then they have the recall election. If that doesn't, then they don't. Then you get into situations like, okay, if they get 51% of the registered voters to sign, to say they want to have a recall election, now you're getting to the point where people who have everybody starts joining, everybody starts running. You had Caitlyn Jenner running. She siphoned off 1.5–2% of the vote of the people who voted in the recall election. Larry Elder was leading by every fucking poll you could fucking see at 27%, which gets to my main point. Someone who has 27% of the population of a state was to vote for him could end up as governor. How is this not explain to me how this is somehow fucking even just direct democracy? Because it's not. It's absolutely not. That is 27% is not a majority. And how many people didn't vote on top of it? I mean, it's ridiculous. You remember the recall that got Arnold Schwarzenegger in there? You had Vern Troyer and a porn star running for fucking governor. And they actually got 1–2% of the vote. That's how serious these people take this shit. Let me go in and vote for someone who takes cock on screen for a living. Let me go in and vote for someone who is in a couple Austin Powers movies. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. The ridiculousness of the system that is in place and we have set up. Why it says in the Constitution, when your government no longer works for you and no longer is for the people, of the people, by the people, replace it. When is that coming? That's the revolutionaries I want. Where are they at? And I'm not saying violent revolution. I'm not saying go in and start killing motherfuckers. I mean, you keep fucking people over and you create a two-class fucking system in this country where you have the elite rich and everybody else is well, if you make $120,000 a year, you consider yourself lucky, but you really don't have any power. You really don't own anything. I mean, you're not own. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you put a ceiling where you can only rise up so far. If you're not born into power, like royalty, you're going to see fucking violence in this country because people won't fucking put up with that. Chris, Earl, I sent you guys the post that a friend of mine posted. He got a good not union job, but a good skilled trade job, right? Now, he had been working as far as I know, pretty much manual labor, semi-skilled labor type jobs up to this point. So he gets in, and as far as I know, about a month ago he started. He gets his first check, and all of a sudden, Mr. Redistribute the wealth, eat the rich, tax the rich, kill the rich, is posting about how, wait a minute, you should only take taxes out of me for 40-hour work weeks, no matter how many hours I work, because 40 hours being taxed on that is me paying my fair share. My overtime shouldn't be touched. What happened to redistribute the wealth? That's
not how it works.
The bitch that made fucking AOC's dress with tax the rich on it, she owes $130,000 to the fucking IRS. She's delinquent on her taxes. Let us owe $130,000. See if we're not in slam you in the ass and fucking gag on cock federal prison.
None of us would be here. Yeah, we'd be in jail.
Okay, tell me. But because you enjoy a little bit of a middle class lifestyle with your little piddly $120,000 a year. Tell me how good you fucking got it. Because these assholes are flaunting the fact that they're above the fucking law to you. They're doing it in your fucking face, and you take it. You take it like the fucking bitch you are. Because you know what? That's what we know deep down. Ain't no one here willing to die for this shit. Not enough people to fucking get change happening. We talk all this revolutionary shit as long as the Wi-Fi's on. Turn the Wi-Fi off.
I told you.
Let a fucking sun flare fucking fry every electronic on this fucking planet and watch how quick we descend into madness.
Mad Max, 3 days, tops.
Oh, shit. If every electronic... No, that was...
Especially if it happened on Friday. By Monday...
North America.
What's that?
I'll give you 3 days if we lost all power for a week in North America. If the whole planet, seriously, you know, because the sun sends out the whatever, I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, like, we could have every piece of electronics on this fucking planet fried with a solar flare. There we go. I had to stop thinking about it for it to come to my top of my brain. Let that happen worldwide. It won't even be 12 hours before motherfuckers are Lord of the Flies eating each other. Dude, because there's no coming back from that.
Nope,
we're not rebuilding.
There's nothing to hold power.
And
Chris,
on top of that,
we were talking about the value of currency. None of that would matter.
Oh, absolutely. It would be. You want to talk about survival of the strongest? You want to talk about might makes right? That's when that shit happens. And I have a lot of money. I can pay for a private army. They gonna stick around if money's worthless? Mm-hmm. Are they going to be willing to maybe die to protect you?
All of a sudden, your farmers are the power of the world because they can grow food and produce crops and food, and you know the essential shit you need to live.
I mean, that's why I think so many people have just kind of like just shrugged their shoulder at society, have embraced this, like, you know what, fuck it, let's do urban farming, let's do small community farming, you know what, we're poor, we're broke, but we have products. We can fucking work on a barter system. Keep it local. Keep the fucking the state and the county and the city government out of the shit. You go to Detroit, there are fucking stretches that you have people just farming vegetables and shit. And I don't blame them, because besides Eastern Market, Saturday and Sunday, where the fuck you go for fresh produce in Detroit?
Well, there's a Meijer on the east side. Did
they finally open one on the east side? Because they tried to open a Meijer on Telegraph on the Detroit side. They built the motherfucker. They never got it fully opened. And now it's a U-Haul rental fucking storage place. And I'm like, really? Even when I lived in Detroit and I was on 7 Mile, I had to cross 8 Mile to go to a grocery store. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, people are if they're not going to give us the fucking building blocks and the starting tools to succeed and actually move up, if we're going to be a society that is just like, if you're lucky, you do better or as well as your parents, but the most of us, we're going to have to settle for less than our parents, less safety, less money, less opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, then people are going to go find their own solutions, and I'm all for it. And what is the major roadblock in people finding their own solutions? The government, because you're removing them from the equation. And
cutting them out of their piece of the pie.
Exactly. When you start to realize how little we need the government, truly need the government, and how much they have their fingers in everything, you start to resent those motherfuckers. Like, who are you? Who the fuck are you? Seriously.
Major part of my life. Like the black people talking about the man's press. Man, find that white motherfucker that's pressing you. I will join hands with you and we will kick his ass together. Because he's pressing me too, motherfucker.
Well, dude, it's poverty, the great equalizer. I mean, period. End of story. You're all equally worthless. I mean, there's a story that came out today, and I believe Bill Maher brought it up. But, men are just abandoning college in record numbers, going to trade schools or going to and apprenticing and getting a trade. And I'm okay with it. Here's why. Higher education ain't what it was 40, 50 years ago. Higher education's a fucking racket. You're telling me I got to go $100,000 in debt, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to make enough money to pay that back. And you're going to, by the way, just keep plopping interest on it like you're a goddamn fucking loan shark and tacking it onto the principal. I mean, you have people who are literally leaving the country to escape their fucking student debt. And these aren't people who got underwater basket weaving degrees. These are people who got degrees who just, the money is not there like it was.
The jobs aren't here like it was.
Exactly. Then you got the brain drain, the people who come here, go to college, and then take their fucking newly educated asses back to their home country, along with and start setting up shit in their country. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad we could fucking educate you. And let me ask you a question. Do you think those fucking people, if they're getting loans, are bothering to pay them back? Because they're probably like, I ain't never coming back to this fucking shithole.
Yeah, come find me.
Yeah, like seriously, it took you 10 years to find a 6'4" motherfucker with diabetes on dialysis in the desert. Are you fucking serious? You're going to come looking for little old fucking me? Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm not mad at them, man. You know what? Higher education outside of STEM is pretty much bullshit. It's people who could not survive and could not thrive in any industry besides teaching other people to hate people who are different than them and wrapping it in this thin veneer of this is academia and I'm enlightening you, I'm educating you. No, you're not. You're indoctrinating and you're teaching us to hate each other. End of fucking story. I mean, you don't hear this. 2015, a study come out, and NPR was fucking crowing about this like it was the second coming of Christ, and it was buried in the rest of the media. But they were talking about the percentages of people in college, and the highest percentage of any gender or ethnicity in college was black women. Why was that not celebrated in 2015? Why is that not brought up whenever education inequality comes up?
Because it goes against the narrative.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely, man. It's just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
No,
and you know what? It sucks. But yeah, at one point, going to college, it pretty much, unless you were a complete fuck up, you pretty much punched your own ticket to at least a solid middle class life. Now, no guarantee. And I'm sorry, but if I can go to work and go to a 9-month HVAC school, get out, move to Arizona, and make $50 an hour, because them motherfuckers ain't living in Phoenix without fucking air conditioning. I'm gonna tell you that. I've lived there. It ain't possible. So you got job security like a motherfucker, and you're only 20, and you're making more money than fucking college professors with tenure. Why the fuck not? With no debt?
Yeah.
I mean, so like, there's not. But here's the deal. Here's all you need to know about our society. There's no fucking hand wringing or pearl clutching about men dropping out of the universities and not going to universities and higher education. No, okay. Yay. Go women. Yay. Okay, and get your bullshit degrees and go into debt. Then what's going to happen? This is going to change so much shit in our society that people don't realize because people are too fucking stupid and willfully ignorant to look past their own fucking nose. It's going to shake up everything from the dating world to the corporate world. Because women, you ain't going to be able... Hypergamy ain't going to be the name of the game. You ain't going to monkey branch from one successful man to another successful man because most likely, you're going to have to date a man who makes less money than you. But guess what? He won't have fucking 6 figures of debt to colleges. And we all know how quick women are these days, especially independent, strong American women, to date down, right? I mean, walk into any McDonald's and see a chick that you think's attractive, and most any guy will holler at her.
Oh, yeah.
You could be Brad Pitt behind the counter at McDonald's, and a fat fucking buck-tooth fucking 300-pound nasty biscuit-eating 2-liter fucking injected twat can walk in and be, oh, please, you work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when that motherfucker's installing your fucking brand new house that you built, went into even more debt for, you're gonna have to default on eventually. When he's installing all of your electronics and doing your electricity and your lighting and all this shit, and he goes home and sits down in front of his 80-inch fucking screen TV.
He's probably making more than you with your bullshit degree that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, there's the dating world already turned upside down. Now let's look at the fucking boardroom. Let's just use those 2 examples. It's going to change because women are going, the smart ones at least, are going for business degrees, are going for things in the STEM industry. So by pure fucking supply and demand, they're going to have an influx at a higher rate into those industries and into those boardrooms and into those board of directors, especially as the decades move on and the old white men that are in charge now start dying. Because, I mean, Chris, you've said it a million times in the 7 years I've done podcasts with you. Ultimately, the profit margin is God.
Yeah.
And the people who fucking are bankrolling, the investors, they want profit at any fucking cost. And if the old white men die and they get some young white men in there and they fuck it up and they go with a fucking young white, or young person of color, female, non-binary, whatever the fuck we've come up with by then, and they start fucking putting record amounts of money in the investors and shareholders' pockets, that's the new hotness.
Janet Jackson wrote a song. It's called "What Have You Done for Me Lately."
Mhm.
That's what it all boils down to.
Absolutely.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Not to be dramatic, but I'm obsessed with how much I just saved at Kohl's. I got 25% off Nike clothes for the kids, the cutest $39.99 flex hoodie for me, and got great Columbia gear for all our outdoor adventures. Did I mention the extra 20% off and the Kohl's cash I got? So yeah, not sure what I love more, fall deals or fall weather. Select styles, 20% offer ends October 3rd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
But see, we're so fucking ignorant as a society. We can't even have these conversations because we want to argue about nonsense. We want to argue and fucking fight because the new fucking Marvel movie doesn't have enough representation for fucking non-binary, furry, otherkin selves. And it's like, then you know what? Why don't you do what people used to do back in the day? Hey, I want to see something, but it doesn't exist. So I'll do it myself. Oh, that's too much like work. Oh, I got it. I understand now. Yeah, come on, dude.
No, that's the new way of the world, Rich. If it's not there, make it there. Because you can't exclude me. I'm special.
Well, the people like YouTube, there's been like in the last 5-6 years, there's been a handful of polls that have come out, and they polled like graduating high school seniors as they're leaving high school. And what do you want to do as a career? What are your goals in life? And steadily and in larger numbers every year, it turns into, I want to be a YouTube influencer. I want to be famous. I want to do this. Notice at the top of these lists, nothing is about money, about power, about changing the world for the better, even if I don't agree with what their version of the better would be. Those aren't in the tops of these fucking lists. And they've actually fucking went to the point when these polls where they go, well, what about if you had fame but not that much money? Oh, that's fine. That's where we're at as a society.
Oh, thank you. I'll take the opposite.
Absolutely. Chris, as musicians, if we lived in La La Land where a record company came to us and said, here's the deal. We want to sign you, 3-record deal, blah, blah, blah. Here's our standard deal. You get a lot of money, but you get no creative control. What would be your response to that?
I'm in. Quite honestly.
See? No. When you were younger, when you were a musician. Like, in the heat of the moment. Like, they're going to tell you what your album cover is. They're going to tell you what your singles are.
I'd still probably be in because my job wouldn't be being a pizza manager.
I would go, nah, I'll take a lot less money for a lot more creative control. I'll bet on myself, thank you. And by the way, if you're interested in us as a record company, that means there's other record companies that would be willing to fucking take that chance, because I'm saying take a chance on us, and by the way, we don't want all this bullshit money up front.
Well, because you got to pay it back.
Bingo. And the more fucking money they give you, the less control you have. It used to be,
yeah, you're somebody.
I want artistic control.
Well, it comes with strings.
I want artistic control. Yeah, but I mean, like, that used to be like, oh shit, you know the bands that did that? Faith No More, Tool, bands like that, bands who have had longevity, bands who haven't let the industry beat them down and make them go fucking bankrupt and basically break the band up just so they're not in debt for the rest of their life.
I don't know Faith No More's backstory, but I do know Tool. Most of them were well entrenched in careers where it didn't matter if they made it, so they kind of had that going for them. Yeah,
what was it, Adam Jones, guitar player? He worked on T2. He got back end on that movie as a special effects person.
Yeah,
that movie made more money than God back.
Like, they already had decent day jobs, so if Tool made it, it was inconsequential to them. So they could afford to have that attitude. They weren't starving artists, so to speak.
Also, I would hope you've seen enough interviews with Maynard to know that motherfucker ain't relinquishing any fucking creative control to any record company if he can help.
Well, now he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh no! Now he's like Clint Eastwood now. You realize Clint Eastwood has been with Warner Brothers for over 70 years? He goes, I want to make a movie. And they go, here's $100 million. You get one bomb per decade. go.
Yeah, Tool's the point now. We're like, what? One album per decade? Sure, because they know it's going to sell.
Yeah.
Even though,
So you're saying you wouldn't want to be Nickelback or
dude,
you are no.
Those guys got a different level of money than Tool, though. I mean, if you want to get into that conversation. I mean,
but see,
when they sold out, they sold out.
See, I mean, here's the thing. Nickelback take a lot of heat, rightfully so. It's deserved in a lot of ways. But in also a lot of ways, it's just fuck low-hanging fruit. That's fruit that's fallen off the tree. You could just pick up off the ground. It's not even fucking hanging anymore. But honestly, it's like when people get mad about, oh, Kid Rock, you sold out. How the fuck do you sell out when you've been all about making money and fucking bitches from the get-go?
Yeah.
How do you if he was a sellout, he would all of a sudden be talking about having fierce integrity as a musician and eschewing fucking the trappings of this world. And he'd start talking like Russell Brand or something. And you'd be like, what the fuck? What kind of acid did they give Kid Rock?
If you follow Kid Rock's career from the beginning, and us three being from Detroit, we have Kid Rock has always done what he's had to do to keep his job being Kid Rock. He started out being a fucking Vanilla Ice ripoff. Then all of a sudden at the end of the 90s, he was fucking a rap rock guy, and now he's a country guy. Fucking Kid Rock is a classic example of if you want to stay relevant, you evolve.
Now, if you were to take someone like Neil Young, all right? Neil Young walked away from Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young because he didn't like the way yes, there was inter-band tensions. But for the sake of this discussion, he walked away because he didn't like the business end of it and the way it was looking. So he walked away from a guaranteed moneymaker. Basically, put an album out, you just printed money. He walked away from it. Then he goes and he starts a band called Crazy Horse, and he starts doing fucking live shows where they literally released a double live album. It was called Arc Weld. Arc was the songs. Weld was a 30-minute EP of feedback edited together to create one giant cacophony that actually made sense, like melodic and harmony-wise. No one's putting that type of shit out now. I mean, they tried in the 80s, they tried to make him an Eric Clapton clone. And his response, he went in the fucking studio and came out and handed him This Note's for You. And made a video basically goofing on Eric Clapton, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and anyone else who sings for fucking, I ain't singing for Pepsi, I ain't singing for Coke, I ain't singing for nobody, makes me feel like a joke. First 4 lines of the fucking song. That's a motherfucker who was like, I don't care about the fucking money. I'm not fucking selling my soul. I can't sleep at night if I do this. Fuck you. I'm going to play the game the way I want to play the game. And he walked that path righteously knowing, hey, I'm not going to have fucking 4 yachts to jet ski behind. But I'm okay with that. I own Lionel Trains. I'm good.
Ironically, he does now.
Well, now, yeah.
Well, he could thank Pearl. Does he send like 5 residual checks to Pearl Jam once a month? Like, hey, thanks for helping me out in the 90s.
I would think that the monetary, emotional, whatever love that he has for Pearl Jam is pretty fucking big.
Yeah, because he was at 1990, he was flailing, right? He was heading into has-been territory, and by the end of the 90s, he was fucking cemented as a rock legend. And I think Pearl Jam had a lot to do with that.
His last big hit, I believe, came out in '89, which was "Rockin' in the Free World." And I thought, oh, this is the last gasp of an artist I'll never fucking see again, because especially this is before I even sniffed the sea change that was coming on the horizon in the early 90s. Like, I knew that hair metal wasn't going to last forever, but I didn't see us like going to to grunge. You know what I'm saying?
Well, oh God. Adam Carolla talks about it. Whatever trend is, you know how just go the opposite of what the current trend is. That's what's coming up. And yeah, grunge was like the anti-hair metal. It was anti-combing your hair. It was anti-dressing up on. It was like you just played in what you rolled out of bed in. You know, there was no solo. And if they were, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't about, the masturbatory, minute and a half solos. Yeah, it was definitely grunge was the anti-hair metal for sure.
Well, and then you had just, the backlash to grunge, which was, this is talentless hack shit. That's all based on talentless hack punk. And I'm like, bro, Pearl Jam's got way more in common with The Who and Neil Young than they do Fugazi and fucking Minor Threat. Okay.
Yeah.
End of story.
All right.
I'll put McCready up against. I'll put McCready up against Townsend for solos any day.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, what'd you say? Let me strap in. Go ahead.
Is Creed good or bad?
Do you like them?
I like them.
Then I guess to you they're good. I ain't gonna lie.
Creed is boardroom rock.
I ain't gonna lie. That first album came out when I was in Florida, and then being a Florida band, this is when they were on Wind Up before they moved over to the major label. And all the major label did was come in and slap a sticker over Wind Up's fucking logo on the back of their CD and say, hey, this is our new band Creed. And they've been out for a year and a half in Florida. I didn't mind the first album. Is it derivative of a lot of, like, if you boil down the most basic elements of fucking quote unquote grunge and alternative from before then in the decade, yeah, it's derivative of it. But I don't need everything to be groundbreaking because I'm not that fucking pretentious.
I'm with you there, but I'll tell you my impression of the first Creed album was, if Pearl Jam still sounded like 10, they put a band together. Like if Pearl Jam never evolved past 10, to me that's what the first Creed album sounded like. Oh, it's 10 part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, the second album come out and I was like, oh, this motherfucker, that whole band was feeling themselves way too much. Like Scott Stapp thought he was Jesus.
Yeah.
And
I like What If. That's it.
Mark Tremonti thought he was like the second coming of Yngwie or some shit. And I'm like, bro, you're not even fucking Kurt Hammett. And he's like the lowest, like Mick Mars is lower than Kurt Hammett and CC DeVille. But Kurt Hammett, go listen to some of them solos on the first couple Metallica albums. His vibrato is garbage. His tone is garbage. And there's some bad notes in that motherfucker.
Everyone on the first Metallica album is garbage. All of them. The whole band. Lars, like...
You think so?
Oh,
you honestly think that?
Yes.
Or are you just saying this to try to get my goat?
No, on the first Metallica album, like maybe like okay, yeah, I forget. You're right, Cliff. But I'm saying like you listen to all those old Metallica recordings, you're like, why did I think Lars was a good drummer? Like there's all kind of missed fills. He speeds up, he slows down. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, a lot of Hammett's. There's a lot of misses in those. Reverb saved a lot of those solos on Kill 'Em All.
Mm-hmm. Listen to Am I Evil intro. Listen to the vibrato and how just not smooth it is on that little like guitar intro part. I mean, it's almost like an angry bee in a can, and you're shaking it.
And so many of Hetfield's screams are not in key. But yeah, but that's also too. They were what? They were like a band for 6 months, and they were all like what in their early 20s. I mean, but that's too. That's back when you just set up mics in a room and went go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
That's the best way to record. I still, even in 2021, I still believe you want a band to sound. You want a band to sound like a band, that's how you record them.
You guys are talking about selling out. A lot of people say that they did with Saint Anger.
Oh, fuck
oh
that.
No.
They
Black Album, bro. Trust me.
They sold out with Injustice. When Cliff died, Lars took the reins of that band because Cliff ran that band. Mm-hmm. And when Lars took control of it, they started making videos. They started putting out singles on the radio. I don't know if you're old enough to remember this. Metallica never had a video before one. The singles that got played on the radio, maybe college radio in the middle of the night, but you weren't hearing that shit on Riff at all.
No, you had to get into the MTV zeitgeist, and they did.
Yeah, the closest they came to like sniffing the mainstream's ass was that tour that Cliff died on when they were opening for Ozzy. Because they'd go on and blow Ozzy off the fuck, because this is fucking really bad Ozzy, like bad 80s Ozzy, like Jake E. Lee Ozzy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's horrible.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Bark at the Moon, Ozzy.
But Bark the Moon's all right. But yeah, the rest was the problem. No, yeah, we're talking Close My Eyes Forever, Ozzy, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, and Metallica were coming out, and I mean, as far as that lineup, Master of Puppets tour where they opened for Ozzy, I've seen bootlegs, professionally shot. I've seen Cliff Amal. That was them at their the height of their power of that lineup. I mean, they commanded whatever stage they got on. It's just, it was really kind of like, oh shit. If I was Ozzy, I'd be like,
well, yeah, that's Master of Puppets. Jeffy, to this day, favorite Metallica album, don't even think about it. Master of Puppets. Done, shipped, ship it, send it. Oh no, what does everybody say now? Full stop. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, if I was Ozzy, what the fuck's he saying? Sharon, what's he saying? He's saying you guys better get even more drunk before you play because you're showing them up. Well, how about he does less coke and snorts less ants off the fucking concrete? How about that before he goes on stage? But dude, Creed and like selling out, I can't see people like Creed to me is like along the lines of like when people go, they sold out. I'm like, how'd they sell out?
They started
they
out
were going
selling
for
out.
they were going for a very commercial sound. And also, he was definitely, with his lyrics, was appealing to the non-denominational, are they religious or Christian, or are they not? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to have their cake and eat it too, get in with contemporary Christian music, but also get a foot in the rock world. And, I mean, it worked.
Well,
It
being
got a
from
lot of
Florida,
people
too,
involved.
that's a smart motherfucking move, being from Florida.
Yeah.
Because
you got a lot of Christ lovers in Florida.
Yeah, people forget. While Florida is generally considered Florida, it's still down south.
Yeah, you get out of Central Florida, you get up near the Redneck Riviera, like the Panhandle and Jacksonville, and I mean that's one flavor of religious zealotry. Then you get down near Miami with like Cubans and Puerto Ricans, and I mean that's Catholic like a motherfucker. So, and once again, the people who actually escaped from Cuba, not progressive, like communist, they don't get in bed with anything that even sniffs like socialism. They are death on that shit. So yeah, it's a lot more conservative people give it credit.
People talked about Trump's going to take Florida. I'm like, or Biden's going to take Florida. I'm like, you sure about that? Sure Biden's taking Dade County? We sure about this?
I mean, you have like the pockets of Jewish neighborhoods in Miami, but like I said, once again, and you have Central Florida, which is fairly liberal compared to the rest of the state.
Wasn't that where all the old Jewish people retired to?
They mostly retired to a little bit farther south in Central Florida. Central Florida to me is between like Tampa and just south of Kissimmee. So basically,
I'm on the air in Gainesville. Is that Central Florida?
Gainesville's North Florida.
Gotcha.
I believe so. I don't know. I was told there'd be no geography, but no. What I'm saying is like Central Florida is a tourist trap area. So
you're not talking about the Everglades, are you?
No, Central Florida, where Universal Studios, Disney, Medieval Times, Daytona Beach, the Tampa area. That's like the destination, like tourist trap, spend your money here. So they try to usually, and that's the area of Florida I lived in, usually they try to ride the fence pretty hard, not be too offensive to anyone or, inclusive or exclusive to anybody. They try to go, everybody's welcome because we want your money. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely not Lake County. Got it.
But like Metallica, like, and Justice for All came out. They like I said, Lars took the reins of the band. I want to do videos. The Black Album come out. We want to sell fucking albums. We want to make fucking money. I mean, Jesus Christ. Those guys were going through their first fucking divorces by the time that album came out. People who weren't alive at that point don't realize that Metallica had like 4 albums and 2 EPs out at that point.
Yeah.
They had been around since the late 70s as far as James and Lars playing together. It's been a rotating cast up until Kurt Hammett joined, and then, until Kurt Hammett joined. That was because Cliff, I believe, joined while Dave Mustaine was still in the band. And I mean, that was like when that lineup was solidified. And if that lineup would have kept going, they would have had a career more along the trajectory. I truly believe like Slayer or Anthrax, and I don't think Megadeth would have had as big a career as they did because so much of Megadeth's career is based on Dave Mustaine hating Metallica's success that he wanted to replicate it to go, see, it ain't that special. I did it. I mean, if you've seen the Saint Anger, or not Saint Anger, but some kind of monster movie or documentary, like he flat out tells him, "I've hated you motherfuckers for 25 years."
Oh, did they have like a sit down with Dave Mustaine in that movie?
Oh yeah, you've never seen it?
No, because fuck that piece of shit. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Metallica's therapy session.
It's fascinating, and it's like, oh god, I know I shouldn't look at this train wreck because I see like body parts strewn all over the place. But Jesus Christ, I see body parts strewn all over the place. I gotta look. It's like I was compelled and repulsed at how fucking much I was watching it. I was like, did
they all cry?
Dude, it's been like over a decade. I just remember the sit down, Dave Mustaine just like, I hated you. You guys, you did me dirty. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but it drove you to fucking be successful. So should you really hate him?
I mean, and on top of that, like if you've seen the Cliff 'Em All and the bootlegs and the underground tapes, VHS tapes that used to make the rounds with metalheads and shit of Metallica and the behind the scenes stuff. Like now that's like commonplace for bands to put one of those out after a major tour. Back then it was unheard of to see that shit. That shit didn't get leaked to the public because there was no internet to leak it onto. But you see that Dave Mustaine was a violent drunk and they were horny, goofy drunks.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We were the same way. Like our band, for sure. The reason we all got along well together, we were all the same type of drunk. Like, and that's, dude, our theory was practice hammered, so that way when we're hammered at the show, we'll still play well. But yeah, we were all the same. Our drunk meshed well together. Yeah, if we ever got around someone and they turned into the angry drunk, we fucking pieced the fuck out. And we also did not hang out with them again.
Yeah, and then, I mean, which a lot of people forget this, but, Dave Mustaine did have formal training in some form of martial arts growing up as a kid. And he's not a small guy. You know what I'm saying? And he's got a temper that's about as short as his dick. So, I mean, and I'm just going off of what I read on the internet. But I'm just saying, like, and he's a violent drunk. That's a bad combination. That's a real bad combination. So, I mean, I don't know, dude. What is selling out at this point?
Right?
Do I want to make money? Of course I want to make money. But I don't want to make money at the cost of my fucking, like, soul. And not my soul in the sense of, like, the religious soul, but, like, my ability to look myself in the eye and not hate what I see.
I think it's more the people that hate the bands that finally make it to the mainstream and get paid. And that's what they're calling and selling out.
Well, Rich,
it's go ahead.
No, finish. No, go ahead.
I think it's more envious than anything. Like, you're supposed to be here where I can, slap you high five for a good solo and shit. But now you're way up there on stage and I'm way down here and I need a pass to come see you. And you're making millions upon millions. And
it's begrudging success.
Right. And I can barely afford to see your fucking concert because I can barely afford the ticket and the parking.
Well, yeah. Well, also, Rich, I think you're also talking about a music business that doesn't exist anymore.
That too.
Oh yeah.
That shit is over.
Just like in recent American history, it goes pre 9/11, post 9/11. It is pre Napster, post Napster.
Well, it's really Napster's code for internet. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Napster was like the first time that it was like, oh shit, anyone can just download this, install it, and then within seconds of it being installed, with a T1 connection back in the day, oh shit! I went to go visit Earl at Oakland University, and that motherfucker had his computer hooked up, and I was like, yeah, start downloading this song now. In like 20 minutes, we'll have it. And he's like, what's the name of it? Okay, you want to hear it? And I'm like, what? You got the first half a second? He's like, no, I got the whole thing. We got a T1 connection here. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Oh yeah, I worked at a radio station that had a T1. Oh yeah, it was glory days. I got so much music.
Yeah, that's
like T1. What is this? Instant?
You have a massive library at your fingertips.
Oh, and if someone gave you a T1 line now, you'd kill yourself.
Well, I mean, dude, not now, but I mean, back then, like if you wanted that type of shit, it was dial up, and probably your best bet was like,
it's
knowing the right people, right chat rooms to go, and also go to like BBS's, like private bulletin board systems and shit.
And then to remember, torrents were the thing. Are they still a thing? I don't even know. At this point, I just give someone $10 a month and I just listen to all the music. It's easier.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a thing, but I mean, the people I know that use them use it for shit that I don't really think they're coming after people for copyright violations. Essentially, they're going. Most of the people I know who use torrents go for what they call abandonware, like games that are in the public domain or games where the publishers went out of business and there's no technical support for it anymore.
Gotcha.
And so, or out of print, like role-playing game books or things like that, where it's like on the secondhand market, yeah, they'll fetch 100, but you can download a PDF. But you know, you're downloading edition 2 of Dungeons and Dragons. They're on edition 5.
I'm just saying, like right now, if you told Chris, I will give you $1,000 if you could locate your music collection. I could not. I haven't seen that bitch in years. Once I went digital, I have not gone back.
Well, see, that goes, and this is, I don't know, maybe a preview for next week, maybe a preview for a few weeks from now. But I swear to God, I do want to do a deep dive on the show with you guys with this. That all is kind of rolled into the Great Reset. Not the conspiratorial bullshit surrounding that phrase, the real shit. Like when they said you'll own nothing and like it, what physical media do you own? Really, at this point, unless you're a collector, not much.
No, because I pay for YouTube Music. Well, it's basically they have YouTube Red, so when we play stuff, we don't have to sit through ads. Mm-hmm. But I essentially got YouTube Music by default. It was my Google Music library, and I have stuff that I've uploaded in there. Now, if I want to download stuff that I've uploaded to it, I can't get it. Like I'm trying to put together a grunge specialty show for the 90s channel that I'm on, and I can't get to the music that I already own, like that I've uploaded. I owned it before. It's in the way YouTube. I can't download the stuff that I've uploaded.
Well, real quick, the beef I have with that is not that you have to hunt down the physical media anymore if you actually want to own a copy of it, not dependent upon an internet connection. My beef I have with it is the retconning of songs, movies, television shows that were made a certain way, the way the artist who most likely is not around or doesn't have any say-so in how their shit gets edited. Like entire episodes of The Office have been removed from online streaming services.
Yeah, they took down Diversity Day. That is one of the best, like, classic Office episodes of all time. That is easily, you ask any Office fan, that is like top 5.
I haven't checked because I just re-upped after I let it expire. By the way, pro tip, if you don't have HBO Max, folks, if you sign up before the 26th, which, fuck, this won't get out before the 26th. Well, anyways, you get it for half price for 6 months. So you end up paying like $7.50 for fucking HBO Max, which has everything. But they have the Boondocks. But apparently they've removed episodes of the Boondocks against Aaron McGruder, the creator's wishes. One of them being the BET episodes, the other being the Tyler Perry episode, and an Uncle Ruckus heavily featured episode. I think it's where he dies and he goes to heaven and like Jesus is like
really
Ronald Reagan or whatever.
See, this is why. See, even Aaron McGruder fucking caved.
I don't know that he caved as much as he just doesn't have a.
Oh, he doesn't have control over it.
Yeah, kind of like Chappelle didn't have a say-so about how his show was on Comedy Central streaming service and HBO Max's streaming service, yet he wasn't getting one dime from it.
Yeah, we got paid. He made noise, and they cut him a check.
Yeah, but he did a 20-minute bit on it where he's like, I literally walked into an office and asked them to take it down because I signed a contract, and you're loopholing the contract. And if we want to continue in good faith a relationship, you need to do this for me. And if he wasn't Dave Chappelle and he didn't have the fucking big dick energy he's got, they'd have told him to get the fuck out the goddamn building. But he is Dave Chappelle, and he is swinging dick like a doctor. So he fucking got his way. But I mean,
ironically,
and
Dave, you can have this joke if you ever hear this. Ironically, he can now go, I'm Dave Chappelle, bitch.
Well, yeah, I think that's the his bit where he also explained, people go, well, you got $50 million. He goes, I never saw a dime one of that because I quit. Everyone thinks that money was in my bank account.
No.
The check never I never saw a check.
No, those contracts are always, they're like sports contracts, basically. It's upon completion.
Mm-hmm. Essentially pay to play. If you don't play, you don't get paid. They put those 3 episodes out where they had Charlie Murphy and Darnell Williams host, and he didn't even get paid for those episodes. And that's all the skits he cut for the 3rd or 4th season where they going into. Whatever season they were going into that was after he signed a $50 million contract. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? That's horse shit. He did that work. He wrote those sketches. He did that while under contract. Comedy Central found a loophole. Why? Because they have a team of lawyers to do it, and Dave Chappelle was just Dave Chappelle at that point. A guy who made a really funny movie for stoners and blew up out of fucking nowhere. He himself said, I never thought, he goes, I knew what we were doing was good. I knew it was funny. I never thought it would take over and launch itself into the public zeitgeist like it did. I mean, it is part of American culture now. His show.
It was one of those right place, right time things. Like we were ready for. It was one of those few cultural moments where we were ready for what was coming at us.
Absolutely. His show, and ironically, 2 shows we've mentioned in the last few minutes. His show in the Boondocks, I don't think you could have done it in the 90s because cable was still thinking that they're basically like broadcast television. We have to follow the FCC regulations, even though legally we don't. And like only HBO was taking any risk really with original programming and kind of pushing the edge and getting edgy with it. And you damn sure couldn't have done the show in the last 15 years. Or not 15 years, but last decade. It ain't happening.
Because it was on after 10, right? It was safe harbor, right? After 10, you could say anything. And the general rule in the industry is like, yeah, but you don't because you have sponsors. But Comedy Central went, fuck it. After 10 o'clock, we're saying what we want because this audience wants it.
At least when we were in specs between 10 and 7, 6. There are no 10 and 6, excuse me. There are no FCC regulations. No, broadcast television could broadcast hardcore porn if they could find someone that was willing to pay for their advertising.
I remember when I had my first full-time radio gig was an overnight shift. I remember talking to my boss about it. Like, yeah, I could say all kinds of crazy shit. He's like, yeah, but not really. He's like, yeah, technically you're on during safe harbor. Yes. He's like, but do you think, and then he just went down like the sponsors on the log. Do you think blah, 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 car dealership and blah, 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 do you think they want to be associated with that? It's like, probably not. He's like, there you go.
Yeah. But hey, once again, here's the deal. A lot of people fucking bristled about Dave Chappelle going and throwing his weight around and basically saying, hey, look, HBO, and I think Time Warner owns HBO and Comedy Central, so I guess it was probably one visit to their headquarters. And it was, you want me to do anything with you in the future? You want me to promote the shit you already have in the can of mine? You want me to fucking continue to do specials with you? You got to do this. Yeah, people were like, whoa, that's bullshit. It's like, no, he earned the right to do that.
He's like, hey, you know how every time I put anything on your service, all of these eyeballs watch it? You want that to keep happening?
Exactly. And he went into like, this is why I deal with Netflix. I walk in, I tell Netflix, this is what I want to do. Netflix goes, cool, here's your paycheck. Have fun. I mean, isn't that a stand-up comic's dream before we're in the dystopian fucking authoritarian hell that we're slowly creeping into now? And now it's like, that's unheard of. There is maybe, I can count on 2 hands, comedians or people who come from the comedy world who have carte blanche to say whatever the fuck they want and don't give a fuck. Because they're uncancelable for whatever reason, whether it's because they don't care if you try to cancel them.
Bill Burr.
And their fans don't care. Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle.
Well, it was Louis C.K. till found out he likes to masturbate with an audience.
And I still don't. I've sat women down who were like, all fucking clutching their pearls over it. And I was like, read this account. These are his fucking female friends. He asked them if he could do it. They said yes, he did it. Literally, one of the accounts was Sarah Silverman going, yeah, that's just Louis being Louis. Like, it was that just like, yeah, that's what he does. It's kind of like, I get the feeling that like him whipping his dick out and fluffing himself, yeah, that's fucking outlandish to a lot of people. But I mean, I remember when fucking Chris Farley would pull his fucking like would strip down and do crazy dances and like bikini briefs and shit, and people were, oh my god, it's shock value. I almost think. Do I think he gets off on it? He's got some weird sexual, proclivity or whatever. Yeah, of course. Who else wants to jerk off in front of people? I don't know. If Sarah Silverman said I could jerk off in front of her, I think she's hot enough. I might jerk off in front of her. But that's just me. Whatever. Even the most angry women I know about it were like, oh well, if that's it, and I'm like, and it's a direct quote from fucking Sarah Silverman and other comedians. Where the problem started is when his people started going around pouring salt on these chicks' names to discredit them. And whether or not he was aware of it happening, when he was made aware of it happening, he should have put an end to that shit immediately. He didn't. To me, that's his biggest fucking sin, is you let other motherfuckers try to destroy another person's career to cover up your bullshit. Just admit to your bullshit, take your L, and fucking come back 4 or 5 years later. Jesus Christ. Kevin Spacey's making a new movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, OJ's had jobs since he's been out of prison. Like, come on, man. It ain't the worst thing ever to get caught jerking off. There's a lot worse shit you could do, like kill 2 people and almost saw one of their heads off. But, whatever. Now I'm defending a sexual assault. Okay, whatever.
You're part of the problem, Rich.
Well, hey, man. I mean, let's be honest here. Would you be shocked to find out that a group of comedians who all came up together, everybody's fucked everybody, everybody's had beef with everybody, everybody's fucking made up and fought and made up and fought, and it's just, I wouldn't, because it's just like my group of friends. That's the nature of how shit works. Like, if you just say some shit and you just quote someone with no context and not give them any type of fucking, like, paint a picture of this is what was happening when this happened, you can take a quote and it'll sound horrible, but then you put it in the context of how it was said and when it was said and who it was said to, and it's funny all of a sudden. It's, oh, I get it now. Oh, that's not bad. That's not horrible.
That's like Johnny Depp said, ain't nobody safe. Just takes one sentence, pull the fucking carpet right out from under you.
Well, look, man, and here's the deal. Everybody plays the let's assume the worst about anybody game that they if you like Johnny Depp, you assume the worst about Amber Heard. If you like Amber Heard, or you're one of these like men are fucking evil, cut their dicks off, blah 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 blah, mandatory vasectomies type shit, which is the thing now, by the way. I mean, no one for real is pushing that shit, but there are fucking battle cries using that as their battle. People using that as their battle cry. And if they're gonna fucking hate Johnny Depp and assume the worst. I saw that video, and you know what I saw? I saw a couple having a fucking fight. And I've been in enough fucking fights when I'm in a relationship to where I've done it, and I've had it done to me, where I've pissed someone off and pushed their buttons, wait for them to explode, and then I lay back in the buckwheat. And the reverse has happened to me, where someone's pushing my buttons and acting all crazy until I blow my top, and then they go lay back in the buckwheat and go, why are you yelling at me? It's a fucking it's a tactic you use in an argument to piss off the person you're arguing with.
And to be more right. Yeah. No
and she fucking recorded him fucking finally snapping. And what did he do? He slammed, a wine bottle and threw a wine glass? Okay, if that's abuse, every woman I've been in a relationship needs to go to prison right now because she's abused me. Unless there's a video I haven't seen where he's actually beating on her, that's all I've seen. Slamming down a wine bottle and throwing a wine glass.
She allegedly shit in a bed next to him. She allegedly took a shit in a bed while he was sleeping for him to wake up next to.
I mean, here's what, I can only go by this metric. One of Johnny Depp's friends is Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope, his entire life is an open book to the point where I tell too much of my life on these podcasts, and I'm like, Doug, you need to shut up. Like we're talking 20 years ago. He's openly talking about on network television, like when he's on Leno not Leno, it was too mainstream for him, but he'd be on like Conan or something talking about, so I was getting a blowjob from what I thought was a chick. Turns out it was trans chick, so I've had my dick sucked by a guy. One of the best blowjobs I ever had. Anyone who's that fucking honest and I've also read a couple of his books, and as brutally honest as he is in those books, I trust what he says. And he was like, the minute I saw Johnny Depp with Amber Heard, I was like, this is going to be one of these relationships where I'm going to have to defend my friendship to him when she gets done with him. And we've all seen one of our friends get in that type of relationship. And we all know you can't stop them. The heart wants what the dick really tells it wants. And if they're convinced that they're going to fucking love somebody, no matter what, we all know you can't change their mind. All you can do is go, I'll be here if you need me.
And can we also, like, ladies do that too? Like, can we also, like, since 2021 and we're all about equity, like, the vag also wants what the vag wants. How many times have we've all seen some girl we know, some woman we know, who is smart, who is attractive, and she is with the biggest, giant, most, he's either an abusive dick or a giant loser, and we're like, what the fuck? How does this even happen?
The rule generally goes like this: best pussy on the craziest bitches, best dick on the cheatinest men.
I just divorced, or I'm in the middle of divorcing somebody super crazy, and it wasn't that great. Just saying.
Hey, I said generally, motherfucker. I didn't say it's a hard and fast rule.
I mean, and I've lived by that rule, and it generally has worked out. But I'm just saying, I'm divorcing a whole bucket of crazy, and I've had better. I'm just saying.
Dude, like I said, working in some of the environments I've worked, being the older guy, looked at like I'm too old to be the older brother, but I'm too young to be the father figure. So I'm kind of like the cool, like not the cool uncle, but the youngest of the uncles. I've heard women talk that are younger than me by a decade or more, and I'm like, y'all are just as foul as us. Because when they don't see you as a sexual being, the truth comes out, and holy shit, man, the shit you hear.
Oh, I've done too many crazy things to too many women to think they're all pure and innocent at this point.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, dude, there's that. But I mean, there's also the, well, I've never done this before. Really?
That means you did it last week.
That means you did it with the whole offensive line of the Detroit Lions. That's what that means.
I don't normally do this. Means you did this fucking last night or 2 weeks ago.
Riley Reef was up in your ass getting loose. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we know. You ain't done this before.
I never do this means you do this fucking every other Saturday. That's what it means.
I mean, dude, Johnny Depp, regardless of the situation, regardless of fucking whether she egged him on and caught and turned on the phone right as he blew his top or he just blew his top, whatever. He's absolutely right in his statement. There's a rush to judgment. There's no presumption of innocence, and it all depends on what side you fall on. Surprisingly, a lot of women I know still defend Johnny Depp. So, I mean, like, I get the feeling they happily die on his hill. And I'm just like, really? And the only thing I can think is you're that turned on by Johnny Depp to where you don't even question whether he's telling the truth or not. I've questioned whether he's telling the truth or not.
I just think of the Boondocks. Oh, he good. It's that mentality.
Exactly. And meanwhile, I'm like fucking Huey at the front of the fucking, yes, the government conspires to wrongly put away innocent black men, but not every motherfucker is an innocent black man. And knock off the goddamn dancing. Those people say. I swear to God, everyone's like, hey, who's your favorite character on the Boondocks? Huey. Really? We figured it'd be Riley or Ruckus. I'm like, no, Ruckus is amusing in a fucking train wreck way. And Riley's amusing because I know so many guys that are like him. But Huey's the one that's like, yeah, if I had balls, I'd be Huey.
Huey just spoke the truth.
Yep, didn't give a fuck. I feel like if I had real balls, I'd just be walking up in people's faces and being like, here's the truth. I dare you to give a fuck about it. Like the whole Martin Luther King episode. Martin Luther King, you get out here and you tell people the truth. Not the truth they want to hear, but the truth that pisses them off and makes them angry. The truth that causes change. And I'm like, yes, it's exactly what we need more of. So on that note, anything else? We want to wrap this up because this is a fucking other giant-sized episode.
One week we'll get to Norm Macdonald. we didn't forget about Norm Macdonald. One week we'll get to him. You know, we start going, and you know, things just happen. But yeah. So on that note, thank you for listening. The numbers are up. So hey, people are liking it. Those of you who were with us before are still listening, and we're finding new listeners. So cool. And that's even without us having our social media. Still follow the unregimented stuff. I got my schedule's going to open up here in a few days, so we'll get back to normal here with posting on schedule and getting the social media in line. But and wherever you listen to us, just rate us, review us if you like the show. That is how you help people find podcasts in 2021. So please do that. Please and thank you. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep. Thanks for listening. Later, guys.
Peace out, yeah.